Works. Bill, we saved you a spot over here.
I was hoping you didn't.
I'm sorry we couldn't save you a parking lot. That's unreal. There wasn't any parking out here this morning. So we're just missing John Williams Bay, I think. Huh? Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Thursday, April 9th, 2026, Metropolitan Planning Commission. We got a very full agenda today, so anybody that's got their cell phones on, if they would please mute them or put them on matter mode, much appreciated. We will start out with our opening announcement. Scott?
Yes, sir. We'll pull that up.
I was gonna make you say it all. You've done it before.
Before we begin the agenda, the Wichita-Sedgwick County Metropolitan Area Planning Commission and the Wichita-Sedgwick County Board of Zoning Appeals would like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone to this public hearing. For those in attendance, copies of the agenda for today's meeting, the public hearing procedure, and planning department staff reports on all agenda items are available in the lobby. The Planning Commission's and the BZA's bylaws limit the applicant on a zoning, subdivision, or variance application and his or her representatives to a total of 10 minutes of speaking time at the start of the hearing on that item, plus up to 2 minutes at the conclusion of that hearing. All other persons wishing to speak on agenda items are limited to 3 minutes per person. However, if they feel that it is needed and justified, the chairman may extend these times by up to 2 minutes. All speakers are requested to state his or her name and address for the record when beginning to speak. When you are finished speaking, please share your name, address, and the case number on the sheet provided in the room. This will enable staff to notify you if there are any additional proceedings concerning that item. All speakers at the podium, please remove your face mask before speaking into the microphone. Please note that all written and visual materials you present to the commission and the board will be retained by the secretary as part of the official record. If you are not speaking, but you wish to be notified about future proceedings on a particular case, please provide your contact information to the Planning Department. The Planning Commission and the Board are interested in hearing the views of all persons who wish to express themselves on all the agenda items. However, we ask that all speakers please be as courteous and concise as possible and avoid long repetitions of facts or opinions which have already been stated. For your information, the Wichita City Council has adopted a policy for all city zoning items. A copy of this policy is available from the planning staff. The City Council relies on a written record of the Planning Commission hearings and does not conduct its own additional public hearings on these items. The decision of the BZA is final. Any appeal of a decision of the BZA is to the district court.
And thank you. Before we get into the roll call, I do want to welcome our newest Metropolitan Planning Commissioner, Tim Austin. Welcome, Tim. Tim is at-large appointment to the county, and also he will be serving on the subdivision committee. Scott, will you do a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Aldrich,
Here.
Zimbelman,
Here.
Fry is absent. Mater,
Here.
McKay,
Here.
Dool,
Here.
Bill Johnson,
Present.
High, Klontz, Warren,
Here.
Joe Johnson,
Here.
Austin, Williams Bay, and we have one vacant position. So
We have 12.
12 members are present, sir.
All right, thank you. Now what we're going to do is go through, start the agenda process. We will go to 1.3, which is the approval of the Metropolitan Planning Commission meetings from March 26. There was no absent, but Commissioner Austin will be abstaining on this one.
Second.
We have a motion for approval and a second. All in support of say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes 11-01. Next item on the agenda, we're going to be going through the consent agenda items on the MAPC. We will start out at 2.1, which is subdivision. And this is the approximate location on this one is East 37th Street and North Greenwich Road. This is subdivision item 2025-00069. Is there anyone from the commission that would like to hear this item? Seeing none, is there anyone from the public that would like to hear this item? Seeing none, we will take 2.1 on consent. The next agenda item, 2.2, is subdivision 2026-0008. This item has been deferred to April 23rd meeting. So if there's anybody here that is here to hear this case, it has been deferred to April 23rd. The next agenda item is 2.3. Subdivision 2026-00010. Approximate location is West 55th Street, South and South 295th Street. This is in the county. We will be hearing this item. There was a question on approval or pending, so we need to put this one over to the side and come back to it. The next agenda item that we have is 2.4, excuse me, subdivision 2026-00012. Approximate location is South Oliver Street and East 31st Street South. Is there anyone from the commission that wants to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the public that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we can move 2.4 to consent. The next agenda item is 2.5, which is subdivision 2026-00015. This item has also been deferred to April 23rd meeting. So if there's anyone here to hear this particular case, again, it has been deferred to April 23rd meeting. The next item on the agenda is 2.6, subdivision 2026-00017. Is there anyone from the planning commission that would like to hear this case? Oh, excuse me. Approximate location on this was 117th Street North and also 143rd Street. Is there anyone from the planning commission would like to hear this case? Saying none, is anyone from the general public would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will move 2.6 to the consent. Do I have a motion? from anyone for the approval of the consent items?
I move that we approve 2.1, 2.4, and 2.6.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, same sign. Now we will move to the public hearing vacation items. First one is 3.1, vacation 2025-00038, which approximate location is East Harry Street and 159th Street East. Is there, okay, this one has been denied by subdivision, so we will be hearing that case 3.1. Is the agent or applicant here by chance for 3.1? Again, is the agent or the applicant here for 3.1? You want to try to, do you think he might be coming up, or Scott?
I'm doubtful based on prior meetings, but we will reach out to them and give them a call just like we would anyone
Okay,
else.
we will hold that one aside. Next agenda item is 3.2, vacation 2026-0002. Approximate location is West 34th Street and North Arkansas Avenue. Is there anyone that would like to hear this case from the commission? Seeing none, is there anyone from the public that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will move 3.2 to consent. Next agenda item is 3.3, vacation 2026-0005. Approximate location is South Lower Avenue and Patty Avenue. Is there anyone from the commission would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the general public that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will move 3.3 to the consent agenda. Next agenda item, 3.4, vacation 2026-0000. The applicant has withdrawn this, so we will not be hearing that. Next agenda item is 3.5, which is vacation 2026-00007. Approximate location is East Lincoln Street and South Fabre, if I pronounce that right. If not, it should be. Okay. Is there anyone from the commission would like to hear this case? Anyone from the general public would like to hear this case? We're on a roll. We will be putting 3.5 on the consent agenda. Next agenda item, 3.6, vacation 2026-00008. Approximate location is East Kellogg and South Chateau. Is there anyone from the planning commission that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the general public would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will move 3.6 to consent. 3.7 is the next agenda item, and that is vacation 2026-0009. Approximate location is 37th Street North and North Bridgeport Circle. Is there anyone from the commission that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the general public would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will move 3.7 to consent.
Move to approve agenda items 3.2, 3.3, 3.5, 3.6, and 3.7.
We have a motion for approval and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Now we will jump over to the public hearing items, conditional uses and zoning and so forth, to see if any of those items can be taken on consent. The first item that we have is 4.1, conditional use -00035. Approximate location on this is West Central Avenue and North Mount Carmel Avenue. Is there anyone from the commission that would like to hear this case? Saying none, is anyone from the general public would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will move 4.1 to consent. Next agenda item is 4.2, which is conditional use 2026-00037, approximate location, South Broadway and Southeast 95th Street, South. Is there anyone from the commission would like to hear this case? Anyone from the general public would like to hear this case? We do have someone like to hear this case, so we will be hearing 4.2. Next agenda item is 4.3, conditional use 2026-00038. The approximate location is West 53rd Street North, North Ridge Road. Is there anyone from the commission that would like to hear this case? Saying none, is there anyone from the public that would like to hear this case? Here. We will hear 4.3. The next agenda item is 4.4, which is PUD 2026-00001. Is there anyone from the commission that would like to hear this case? Is there anyone from the general public that would like to hear this case? Yes, sir. We will hear 4.4. Next agenda item is 4.5, which is also a PUD, 2026-00003. Approximate location is East 37th Street North and North 127th Street East. Is there anyone from the commission that would like to hear this case? Is there anyone from the general public would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will put 4.5 on the consent. Next item is 4.6, zoning case 2026-00006. Staff has recommended denial, so we will be hearing that, this case. And the address on that is approximately 53rd Street North and West North Meridian. Next agenda item is 4.7, zoning case 2026-0007. Approximate location is 150th Street West and West Central Avenue. Is there anyone from the commission that would like to hear this case? Anyone from the general public would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will take that on consent. If you excuse me for a second, going back to 4.6, the agent or applicant here? Is the agent or the applicant here for zoning case 2026-0006? Seeing none, I guess we need to see if we can contact.
We'll reach
Well,
out.
that's the one that we got, the applicant would not be here. Okay, we're gonna set that one aside to hear. Going back to the 4.7, that there's no opposition on it, nobody wants to speak, so we will put that over on consent. Next agenda item, 4.8, conditional use 2026-0008. This agenda item has been deferred to May 14th. So if there's been anyone here to hear this, this item, it's approximate location, North Webb Road, East 45th Street East. Again, this item has been deferred to May 14th. The next agenda item, 4.9, zone case 2026-0009. We will be hearing that case. Staff has recommended denial. Is the agent or applicant for 4.9 here? Okay, thank you. Next agenda item is 4.10, zone case 2026-00010, approximate location West Douglas Avenue and South Seneca. Is there anyone on the commission that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the general public would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will hear 4.10 will be on the consent. 4.11, zoning case 2026-00011. The approximate location is North Tyler Road and West Second Street. Is there anyone from the commission would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the general public would like to hear this case? Seeing none, 4.11 will be taken on consent. Next agenda item is 4.12, CUP 2026-0006. Staff has recommended denial on this, so we will be hearing this case. Is the agent or applicant available? Thank you. Next agenda item is 4.13. We will be hearing that. This is a DER 2024-0010. And the next agenda item, 4.11, was also a DER 2026-00003. We will be hearing all that. We are going to adjourn briefly from the public hearing. Pardon me? Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I was just gonna wait and see what we do with the BZA, but we can do that. Okay, we will be going back to the vacations.
Mr. Chairman?
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, just a quick question. On the zoning public hearing items, I believe there needs to be a motion and a second and a vote on consent.
Hi, Eric, thank you. Is there a motion to accept on consent the items in the public hearing?
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept 4.1, 4.5, 4.7, 4.10, 4.11. Second.
We have a motion for approve the consent, and we have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Yeah, I was just trying to rush things. So now, let's go back to, well, we can recess out of this and now go into BZA. So now we will go to the BZA items for April 9th, 2026. Do we have a copy of the minutes in front of you? Absent was Cindy Miles, and she's not here anyway. And Mr. Commissioner Austin will have to abstain. Do we have a motion? And do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. On both BZA cases, 2026-00019, which approximate location on that is East Lewis Street and South Ellis, and also BZA 2026-00020, approximate location is South Meridian Avenue and West MacArthur. Staff has recommended approval that all 5 criteria have been met. Is there anyone on the city or the council, or what are we, our commission, would like to hear any of these cases? If not, is there anyone from the general public would like to hear these cases? Okay, we do. Okay, sir, which case would you like to? 20? Okay, we will be hearing the BZA 2026-0020. We can, again, take on consent BZA 2026.0019.
I move we take 00019 by consent.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the BZA 00019 and that all 5 criteria have been met. Is there a motion to approve? Or, excuse me. Okay, we already have that, sorry. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, same sign. Next agenda item will be number 3 on the BZA 2026-00020. Raquel is,
Well, I'm presenting on behalf of Raquel. She had an appointment this afternoon. BZA 2026-20 is a variance request to reduce the east side setback to 0 feet for an existing garage as well as a proposed vehicle storage yard. Property is located on the north side of West MacArthur Avenue, about a half mile in between South Meridian and Southwest Street. It's 4.53 acres in size, and it is zoned rural residential. If you go to the site plan, please, the applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the east side setback from 20 feet to 0 feet for a vehicle storage yard, as well as an existing 2-car garage. Very recently, the applicant was approved for a zone change to rural residential with a conditional use for the vehicle storage yard that's in question. And he is looking to put it on the easternmost portion of his property. The previous one showed the extent of the vehicle storage yard, nestled right up against the east property line. And then the variance is also going to cover, now if you go forward one, an existing 2-car garage that is already non-conforming. He is looking to expand the 2-car garage at this location. With a zone change down to rural residential, it increased the interior side setbacks to 20 feet in each direction, so that would be 20 feet in this way and 20 feet in this way. The vehicle storage yard is not allowed to be within the setbacks, and as I said before, the existing 2-car garage is already non-conforming, and you cannot expand in a non-conforming structure if it is already within the setbacks, so the variance would apply to both. The property on the east over here is zoned limited industrial with a commuter unit plan, is currently being developed as a state mental health hospital. This property here is zoned SF20, single-family residential. It is zoned and developed with a single-family home. Property to the west is SF20 as well as GO. There's a single-family home in the SF20 and a church up against I-235 in the GO property. And property to the south is SF20, and there was single-family dwellings as well. I just explained the case history of it had been SF20 up until recently, and it was recently approved for the zone change and the conditional use for the vehicle storage yard. Regarding the 5 criteria, criteria number 1 is the request is unique to this property, is not created by the applicant. The applicant states that these homes and property lines are created before the existing zoning regulations. So what he's saying is his property was plotted, or the dimensions of it were in place before countywide zoning was in place. The property at 3216, which is the subject site, is an odd shape with an angular property lines. The frontage is 70 feet, then widens to 165 feet. This means that the front of the property is nearly useless under the RR side setbacks and with 20 feet side setbacks. All of the structures that are at 3216 are non-conforming. The garage is 3.5 feet from the east property line. The house is about 11 feet from the west property line. Over 1,000 feet of the east property line is adjacent to LC and LI. Per the zoning code, those 2 properties are subject to a minimum 0 side setback or a minimum of 5 feet setback. Staff agrees with the statement the subject is non-conforming with respect to minimum lot width and side setbacks as stated above. The width of the subject side is not an action taken by the applicant. The configuration of the site was established prior to existing zoning laws. Under the prior zoning is SF20, the garage in question was non-conforming regarding even the SF20 setbacks. Criteria number 2, granting of the variance will not adversely affect the right of adjacent property owners. The applicant states there's only 1 residential property bordering the east property line. The expansion of the ground to the north would be adjacent to the north 45 feet of the property at 3206, their western property line, and is about 88 feet from the house. There would be no negative impact to the property at 3206. South Central Regional Mental Health Hospital is adjacent to 3216, for about 450 feet across proposed location of vehicle storage yard. The west of the hospital is made up of detention cells with limited windows. There will not be an aesthetic or functional effect on the hospital. Indeed, removing the additional trees that would be necessary in order to move the storage area 20 feet from the property line would reduce the aesthetics for those who could see in the direction of 3216 from the hospital. So what he's explaining here is the site has a lot of existing mature trees that he's looking to not have to cut down in order to meet the setback regulation. Staff agrees with this statement. The proposed expansion of the garage would not adversely affect the neighboring property at 3206. Additionally, due to the required compatibility standards for the South Central Regional Mental Health Hospital, there's approximately 20 feet between the property line and the required screening wall, and an access road between any hospital rooms and the proposed location of vehicle storage yard. The screening wall will also help screen the vehicle storage yard from patient view. There would be no negative impact to the hospital. All other neighboring properties are not affected by the request. Criteria 3, the strict application of the provisions of the zoning code would constitute an unnecessary hardship on the applicant. The applicant states that there are several hardships that would be incurred if the setback was not reduced. First, the husband is on disability for medical condition that prevents him from doing strenuous physical labor, so major work would have to be hired out. The further away the garage is, harder for him to get to it. His condition varies as it expected to deteriorate. Nearly a quarter acre of trees would have to be removed from the center of the property. The financial cost of the tree removal is prohibitive and would likely cost well in excess of $10,000. Staff is in agreement with this statement. The strict application of the code would constitute a hardship, especially considering the lot is smaller in size, and decline of the variance would lead to additional costs and would prohibit development of the vehicle storage yard. Criteria number 4 is the variance will adversely affect the public health, safety, morals, order, convenience, prosperity, general welfare, or harmonious development of the community. The applicant states there is already a regional mental health hospital being built next door with a legalized homeless encampment being put in by One Rise on the other side of the hospital. That is far more detrimental to the harmony of the community than a vehicle storage yard being allowed to be right up against the property line. It is impossible to imagine that a change on the side setback will have a negative effects on any aspect of the community. Indeed, we are trying to make the area more prosperous by improving 3216. Staff agrees that the variance request will not adversely affect the public health, safety, and general welfare of the community. There's sufficient space and screening provided by the compatibility standards to the east. Additionally, the vehicle storage yard does not cause excessive noise or pollution. And then finally, the granting of the variance would not be opposed to the general spirit and intent of the zoning code. The applicant states the area around 3216 is going commercial, and our attempt to make the property generate revenue is in line with the nature of the neighborhood. If a vehicle storage yard has a minimal impact on the environment, especially in comparison to the construction of the hospital next door. We want to maintain as many trees as possible and use them for screening instead of building a fence. We are trying to integrate a commercial endeavor with nature. Staff agrees with the statement. Granting it the variance would uphold the spirit and intent of the zoning code and promote harmonious development of the surrounding properties. With that, staff has found that all 5 criteria have been met for the reduction of the 20-foot setback down to 0 with the following conditions. The east side setback reduction shall only apply to the building expansion and the vehicle storage yard as shown on the site plan, and the applicant shall obtain all proper building permits and inspections. Modifications must comply with all state, county, and any other applicable standard. I can go through the site pictures. Next picture, please. This is looking north into the property. Next picture. This is looking east along MacArthur. This is the mental health hospital. Next picture. This is looking south across the street. Next picture. And this is looking west along MacArthur. Next picture. And this is looking northeast toward the east property line of 3216, the subject site. Next picture. With that, I can stand for any questions.
Is there any questions for staff? Seeing none, agent or applicant, please.
Good afternoon, and thank you for allowing me to speak today on this
Yeah,
matter.
just-
For the record,
You're with Sedgwick County, right?
my name is Andrew Diltz. I'm the director of.
I don't think, in this case, we're asking for the property owner.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry.
You'll be next.
Is agent or applicant that owns this property available? Is the agent or applicant available? Okay, well, what we'll do is, what's the will of the commission? We can, now you wanting to speak on this particular case?
If you would be willing to hear me,
Okay. What we could do is go ahead and allow if there's any public to speak on it and then bring it back, to the board for determination. Commissioner Johnson?
I'd move to go ahead with the case since all 5 criteria were met. So I'd like to hear the rest of it and then we'll decide what to do.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. Sir, come to the podium, if you would, and state your name and address for the records.
My name is Andrew Diltz. I'm the Director of Facilities for Sedgwick County that owns the adjacent property to this applicant's property. My property is located on the east side. My home address is 14513 West Sheriak Circle, Wichita, Kansas.
Okay, sir, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you for allowing me to speak on this today. The Sedgwick County is currently the owner of this property to the east of the applicants, and with as we are building a mental health hospital currently right now, once the hospital is complete, it will be turned over to the state of Kansas. And I have Miss Juliana Rezchek with the state of Kansas. She will be the superintendent of the hospital that will operate it in the future. We have a masonry wall that divides our property from the applicant's property. And with a 0-foot setback, we have concern that vehicles being moved in out of the yard, the facility that may be built on the property line, we would ask that this be amended to a 5-foot setback on our portion of the property line to allow a buffer so no damage comes into our wall, as well as allowing us to maintain the wall in the future.
Anybody have, you got it?
Yes, and I'll stand for any
Anybody,
questions.
Any of the commission have any questions? Seeing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll bring it back. Is there anyone else like to speak on this? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the commission. Quick question for staff. It's my understanding on the staff report that the state hospital will have to provide the landscaping on the east side. Is that correct?
Yes, my understanding is that the community unit plan has landscaping requirements in addition to the screening wall.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Commissioner Dill?
Is the screening wall on the property line? They're wanting a setback on the east side of it. Is that property part of this application?
I don't believe so, staff.
The screening wall would be on the property for the mental health hospital. Where it's relation to the property line, I guess we can defer to Sedgwick County on if it's going to be on the property line or slightly off of it.
The footing for the masonry, Andrew Deltz, Director of Facilities for Sedgwick County. The footing for the masonry wall is 6 inches from the property line on the Sedgwick County's property.
Okay. Any additional questions? Seeing none, commissioners, staff does recommend or saying all 5 criteria have been met. Do you concur or what is your pleasure?
I make a motion to approve according to staff comments and the 5 criteria been met.
Second.
We have a motion, just a second, Phil?
Mr. McKay, can you repeat your motion? I couldn't hear to see if it was for staff comments or if it was including the request by Sedgwick County.
I said, no, what I said was that we approve your recommendation to approve it because of the meeting of the 5 criteria.
Okay, the motion was that all five criteria have been met based on staff recommendations and comments. We have a motion for approval, and we have a second. Yes, Scott?
Sorry to be
Yeah.
a stickler, but because we've got two different sets of staff here, I just want to make sure, my understanding is that the motion that has been made and seconded would approve, indicating that it's met the five criteria and would approve it with a 0 setback.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. The 8 votes needed for the BZA criteria has been met. Motion passes. We will adjourn out of the BZA, and we will go back into the public hearing items. Excuse me. And we will start with 2.3, which is subdivision 2026-00010. The reason why we're gonna be hearing this is because there was a subdivision recommended approval on this contingent upon the fire department signing off on it. So has that occurred? Has the fire department signed off on, based on the subdivision requirements?
Greg Sharon, planning staff. As per a meeting yesterday with county staff, it is our understanding that that agreement has not been made for access control. So I can present the plat with that understanding.
I don't know if we have to hear the whole thing, or can we just make a recommendation that we send it back to subdivision?
Yes, sir. Scott Wadle again. I've just got some more clarification on this one. So this item was recommended for approval and for the MAPC to consider. That recommendation is coming to you from the MAPC Subdivision Committee. That recommendation was contingent on the applicant and the Sedgwick County Fire District getting together and coming to agreement on the configuration and location of access for the different parcels. Because they've not come to an agreement, therefore, the recommendation that was made to you from the subdivision committee has not really been fulfilled because there was no agreement made. So my understanding is that you don't necessarily have to take public comment on this if you want to send it back to the subdivision committee, because what they recommended to you has not been fulfilled.
Thank you. Any comments? Yes, Commissioner Warren?
Scott, my question is, we're not come to an agreement because they have different ideas on what to do, or they have a hard time getting together time-wise?
In terms of the agreement, I believe that the applicant has a difference of opinion on what is the best and most appropriate way to provide access to these compared with the fire district. I think they have separate ideas on how to provide access.
Okay, I'm gonna defer to Chair of Subdivision, Klaus. Would you make any comments on that? Would you?
I'd recommend that we send it back to subdivision.
Okay.
It was over a cul-de-sac, so it was
Okay, well,
a difference of opinion.
we could probably take that as a motion to recommend that we defer it back to the subdivision. Now, do we have a date specific on that?
Sir, we've already sent out the agenda for next week, so it would be not next week, but 2 weeks after that. I will look it up on my calendar real quick. May 7th is the date.
I would ask, is there any comments from legal? Yeah, I think we did something here. Okay, do we have a motion and a second to return it back to subdivision? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Yeah, that May 7th date will be included in the motion, right?
Yes, May 7th, May 7th. Okay, so we have an aye. Do we have any abstentions or nays? Hearing none, the motion passes to send it back to subdivision. It does get better. Next agenda item.
Pardon me, say, Bob.
Yeah.
Look, I'm thinking, I'm at stages, I'm thinking. We sent it back to subdivision with what purpose?
Sir, I believe that the intention of the subdivision committee, when they recommended it, was to see that the access was resolved. Because it has not been resolved, I believe that it will be up to the subdivision committee to look at the opinion of the applicant and the opinion of the fire district and ultimately determine what to recommend for approval or denial to the MAPC. So in the short version of that is subdivision's gonna have to wrestle with how should access be provided to these lots.
Should that be part of the motion? 'Cause that's the only thing that we sent it back for, right?
I think it's, if you want to add it to the motion and make it more clarified, I think that works, but if you don't, I think because that condition was not fulfilled, I think that the subdivision committee will be aware of what issue needs to be worked out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next agenda item is 3.1. And this property is located East Harry Street and South 159th Street. Staff has recommended denial. Is the agent or applicant here? The agent or applicant here? Seeing none, we will bring it, or, yes, sir.
Sorry, sir, we've had some very unusual cases so far. With this particular case, this is a case that the subdivision committee heard multiple times, or at least attempted to multiple times. The applicant has not reached out to staff. Staff have reached out to the applicant multiple times. No communication. And because of that, I believe that the subdivision committee ultimately, after months and months of trying to hear this case and reach the applicant, made a recommendation to the full MAPC to go ahead and deny it. So because of that, as the planning director, knowing that the applicant has had multiple opportunities in many weeks and many months to coordinate with folks and has not done so, my recommendation to you would be to hear the item so that you get an overview of what it's about, see if there's any public comment on it, and then take action on it.
All right, thank you. Okay, we will be hearing the item. And you are up.
Samuel Dietz, presenting planner. Vacation 2025-00038 is a request to vacate a portion of a platted utility easement located at 15410 East Wood Creek Street, which is generally located a quarter mile south of East Harry and 1/3 of a mile west of South 159th Street East. The site is zoned SF5 single-family residential and developed with a single-family dwelling. The vacation request is to allow the construction of a pool. Public Works and Utilities, Fire, Stormwater, and Traffic Engineering did not object, nor did Black Hills Energy or Kansas Gas. However, Evergy does not approve of the request, given existing equipment in the easement. For that reason, this case was deferred numerous times. The applicant indicated that they would work with Evergy. However, from my understanding, that has not taken place since this case was originally heard in October. Based on Evergy's comments, subdivision committee did recommend denial, finding that private rights would be injured or endangered by recommending approval of the vacation request. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
Are there any questions for staff? I have one quick question. Part of what this gentleman was supposed to have done is also reach out to the utility, which is Evergy. Do you know whether or not that has ever occurred?
In speaking with the representative from Evergy, except for initial contact, no further discussions have taken place.
Okay, Sammy, thank you. Any additional questions or comments? Hearing none, yes, Commissioner Duell.
Clarification, if the Staff recommends denial and the subdivision committee recommends denial. Doesn't it stop there, or does it still have to come to the planning commission?
Mr.
Probably
Dooley,
have to come to the planning commission because it just has basically,
it does, yes, sir. You're correct. So the subdivision committee is advisory to the full MAPC. It's the full MAPC that then will make the recommendation, the formal recommendation that goes on to the governing body. So it does need to come to the MAPC.
any additional questions, comments? Is there anyone from the public like to speak on this item? Hearing none, I'll bring it back to the commission for your pleasures. Do we have a motion?
I would move to concur with the subdivision committee's recommendation and deny.
Second.
We have a motion to uphold the subdivision's recommendation for denial. We have a second. If there's not any additional comments, all supportive of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. And the motion has passed. Now we move to the public hearing items. First agenda item is 4.2, which is conditional use, 2026-00037, approximate 95th Street and South Broadway Avenue. Sammy, you're up again, sir.
Good afternoon, Samuel Dietz, presenting planner. Conditional use 2026-00037 is a request for a recreational vehicle campground on property zoned SF20 single-family residential. Property is 18.26 acres and is generally located on west of South Broadway Avenue and 700 feet south of East 95th Street South. The purpose of the request is to expand an existing RV campground to the remainder of the property. The attached site plan, if we could go to that, illustrates the expansion of the existing RV campground. The proposed site plan shows 161 RV spaces. Minimum interior side setbacks in the SF20 district are 10 feet. The proposed site plan shows a setback of 20 feet. Front and rear setbacks in SF20 are 25 feet, and the current site plan shows a setback of 20 feet. However, an administrative adjustment would allow the applicant to reduce those setbacks to that 20 feet. Section 4-B3 of the Unified Zoning Code requires solid screening for non-residential uses where abutting residential zoning. Properties on all sides are zoned SF20 and RR, and a minimum of a 6-foot solid screening fence is required along the property lines where RVs are parked. The character of the neighborhood is rural and low-density residential. Properties to the south and west are zoned RR and used for agricultural purposes. Properties to the east are zoned RR and developed with single-family dwellings. Properties to the north are zoned SF20 and LC and developed with single-family dwellings and a vehicle repair establishment. The subject site is not platted. Platted is not required for the proposed use. There are no other zoning cases associated with the site. As far as public services are concerned, the site has access to South Broadway Avenue, which is a paved county arterial with open ditches on each side. The site uses well water and sewer will be an on-site septic system. The requested conditional use is in conformance with the community investments plan, which identifies the area as rural. Agricultural uses, rural-based businesses, and larger lot residential exurban subdivisions likely will be developed in the area, and the expanded RV campground is not likely to have significant detrimental impacts on surrounding uses. Locational guideline 1G of the community investments plan states that support expansion of existing uses to adjacent areas. The requested conditional use will allow such an expansion from the existing RV campground to an expanded site. Staff has received one email, which you should have in front of you, with concerns regarding the water, fire, and trash for the proposed RV campground. However, based on the information available prior to the public hearing, planning staff does recommend that the conditional use be approved, subject to the conditions in your staff report. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
Is there any questions for staff? Seeing none, the agent or applicant, please. Yep, please come forward to the podium, state your name and your address for our records. And sir, you have 10 minutes.
Daniel Reese, 9747 South Broadway, Peck, Kansas. I own the property with my wife and myself. So I've owned this property for 7 years, and it's a small campground, and went through the process of vetting out whether this is a kind of a viable option for us to expand. Have a lot of demand in the area, so I went through the process of working with a national firm to get it designed with the site plans, and so that's on, I believe, the first of the, there it is. So this is through Environmental Design Group, which is a firm that designs campgrounds nationally. And so they developed it out to the national codes. And yeah, that's where it is right now. Open it up for any questions if needed, or I can expand if needed.
Sir, quick question that I have. Would you be the owner operator of the campsite?
Yes, yeah, I own 3 other RV parks as well.
Okay, so it won't be a national firm operating it, it'd be,
No, it's a mom and pop.
okay. Is there any additional questions for the applicant? Yeah, Commissioner Zimmerman?
Along with the staff's approval, they have listed 5 items that you must comply with. Have you read those, and do you agree with all that?
Yes, I read all of them. I think just with some clarification with the staff, just understanding there is a parcel that I own, 9719, just figuring out, yeah, it sounds like they want to have that as a part of it. That's not an issue on my end, and everything else would be addressed accordingly.
Is there any additional questions? Commissioner Austin?
A couple questions. Does this require a subsequent subdivision plat and drainage plan and other matters for development?
No, defer that to staff.
My understanding is that it would not, unless going through the process with MABCD with all the permits, if something were to trigger it. But of course, even through building permits, they require that, drainage and things be considered, but I don't think it comes to the level of actually needing a full subdivision plat.
See, any additional questions for the applicant? Yes, Commissioner Clouds?
How many sites are currently on the property right now?
Right now, there are currently 16 sites.
Thank you.
Is there any additional questions? Seeing none, sir, stand by. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this item? Is there anyone on the public that'd like to speak on this item? Okay, yes, ma'am. Please come to the podium and please state your name and address for our records. And ma'am, you have 3 minutes.
I'm Claudia Ritter, 111 West 95th Street South. I just really have questions whether there was any interaction with the U.S. Department of Highways, because that's a U.S. 81, and whether the egress and degress has been considered. I am somewhat familiar with events like at the casino and stuff, where there's like over 100 RVs potentially coming in on a Thursday or Friday and leaving on a Sunday, and the amount of slow traffic that can create on a highway of more than 50 miles per hour. It doesn't seem to me that there's enough space between the highway or enough pavement for these vehicles to be able to easily get in and out of that RV park, especially when you start getting lines. And I know that my mother waits in lines at times with her RV. And so that was a concern, since I do use I imagine most of the horse trailers are gonna be, at the events. Okay. The other thing I wanted to know is if there was consideration for light pollution on the height of the poles. And also, I noticed that there were secondary leach lines. Is that for future growth? And how many people is this RV park actually wastewater designed for? Whether that's 400 people, I realize it's 161 RVs, but they usually have more than one person in them. I'm north of the place and the water flows south, so it's not a concern for me, but I just wanted to make sure that we weren't going to be polluting the light, the ground, any more than necessary. Thank you.
And thank you for your comments. Is there any additional comments or anybody else from the public would like to speak on this? Seeing none, I will bring it back to the commission. Or, excuse me. The agent or applicant, would you come back, please, for rebuttal? Thank you.
Daniel Reese, 9747 South Broadway. Regards to we've already had conversations with the highway district, and we're going to do a study there. Most of the 161 sites, that is assuming that the phase one of the first 50 sites is actually, we're not going to build it out at one time. The proposal is to do 50 sites at a time to make sure that this is actually going to be a viable investment. So it could potentially be up to 160, but it could stop well short of that if it doesn't continue to grow. Regarding the light pollution, so the highway district we're having conversations with them. We have very few transient, meaning overnighter spots right now, and the expansion would have only a fraction of that, the overnight or really overnight spots. These are going to be quite a bit more seasonal spots, so that doesn't have a lot of traffic, not as much turnover. So with about 20 sites earmarked for overnight or transient, that means that the volume of traffic on a weekend is not going to be nearly what it would be on your overnighters. So, and then regards to the wastewater, we've already had the county out to do a wastewater test or a soil test, and the secondary leach field that is on there, that is if needed for expansion. So we're already engineering what is going to be required based on the gallons per usage. We have that data from the RV parks I already own. So it is the soil is great for it. There's not going to be any issues. It's not going to be a lagoon. It's going to be a septic system due to the soil.
Is there any additional comments from, Commissioner Austin?
Yeah, one question for the applicant. Would you be adverse to doing a subdivision plat? You're going to do a survey anyway for your design. You're going to need your boundaries to be established.
The subdivision plat is, I've never had an RV park I own or any RV park that I've actually looked to purchase that was actually platted. So it shouldn't need to be platted. Of the other RV parks within Sedgwick County, another one is All Seasons over in Goddard. I looked to purchase that, and that was not platted either. So I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I don't think it's necessary due to the usage.
Just as a practical matter, whenever you change your land use adjacent to a state highway, the state regulates land use. So you do have to have that driveway permit from KDOT for that change in land use. And I understand you're talking to them, but just as a point of clarification for the neighboring property owner.
Okay.
But I mean, my preference would be that you would plat.
Okay.
That would be mine.
But a lot of that would be answered during the permit process, correct? Scott, would a lot of those concerns be answered during the permit process, whether he would have to be platted or not?
Yes, sir, that's my understanding. It's going to depend, in my opinion, on the structures, if you're putting in any structures on there. But
There's no permanent structures at all. That's all RV sites, so it's not there. We don't have any buildings being erected or anything. It's basically just utilities going in the ground and some improvements of the of the ground for the driveway. So it's not going to start as an asphalt. It's going to start as a simple gravel driveway. So it's not going to be as yeah.
So, and you'll be interacting with MABCD as you work through
The permitting.
sewage and water and those kind of things.
I've already had conversations with KDHE from Kansas Rural Water Association to Evergy right now to get all the permits kind of underway so we can hit the ground running if this gets approved.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anyone else on the commission would like to have any questions? Saying none, thank you. We will bring it back to the commission. What is your pleasure?
I'd like to move that we approve per staff comment.
We have a motion and a second for approved for staff comments. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All same sign. The motion passed. Next agenda item is 4.3, which is conditional use 2026-00030. This is located in the county, approximately North Ridge Road and 53rd Street North. I'm sorry, what did I do? I got 3 of them in there? Oh, 3-8. Oh, excuse me. 3-8. My eyes.
Good afternoon, Samuel Dietz, presenting planner. Conditional use 2026-00038 is a request for recreation and entertainment outdoor on property zoned RR rural residential. The property is 24.6 acres and is generally located on the south side of West 53rd Street North and a quarter mile west of North Ridge Road. The purpose of the request is to allow agritourism uses primarily in the fall months. Recreation and entertainment outdoor offers recreation, entertainment, or games of skill to the general public or members wherein any portion of the activity takes place in the open. Typical uses include archery ranges, batting cages, golf driving ranges, drive-in theaters, miniature golf courses, tennis courts, and amusement rides. The proposed site plan shows space for a corn maze, pumpkin field, bounce pillow, hamster wheels, playground, petting zoo, and pony rides. The character of the neighborhood is rural and low-density residential. Properties to the south and east of the subject site are zoned SF20 and RR and are undeveloped or used for single-family dwellings. Property to the west is within the city of Mays and is undeveloped but intended for low-density residential uses. Properties to the northwest are zoned RR and are used for agricultural purposes, and properties to the northeast are within the city of Mays and developed with commercial uses. Subject site is not platted. Platting is not required for the proposed use. As far as public services are concerned, the subject site has access to West 53rd Street North, which is a paved county arterial with open ditches on each side. The site uses well water, sewer, will be an on-site septic system. The requested conditional use is in conformance with the community investments plan. The subject site is in an area identified as agricultural or vacant, which is defined as areas that are undeveloped or used for agricultural production. Agricultural land is an important natural resource. Pockets of low-density residential uses without the full range of municipal services likely will be developed in areas of the urban fringe that are primarily used for agriculture. The applicant is proposing outdoor recreation and entertainment on an existing agricultural property. Staff have received 2 comments regarding this case. One from the developer of the properties to the west in the city of Mays. You should have in front of you the plat for that development. Staff also received comments regarding drainage on the property, landscaping buffers, and noise concerns. If we could go to the site photos, please. This is looking south towards the site from West 53rd, where the applicant has indicated that they will provide a new driveway. This is looking north away from that new driveway entrance. This is looking east away from the new driveway entrance on 53rd. This is looking west away from the new driveway entrance. This is on site in the area proposed for the parking lot or near there. This is looking southeast. This is looking east. This is looking southwest from the site. And this is looking south from the site. With that, with those site photos, based on the golden rules listed in the staff report and the conditions as well, staff does recommend approval. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
Is there any questions for staff? I have a quick question. This is outside the area of influence of Mays?
That is correct.
Thank you. Is the agent or applicant here?
Kim Edgington, PSC Consulting, 144 North Emporia, agent representing the applicant. Thank you, staff. I think staff did a very adequate job of covering the case here. We are in agreement with all of staff's comments. Because this is an RR use, this is really a very appropriate location for this. My clients recently acquired equipment from a pumpkin patch that operated on 119th Street, Cedar Creek Farm and Pumpkin Patch. So that has recently closed, and that particular operation was in business under the state's agritourism exemption clause. So there was no conditional use or rezoning at that property, nor is there oftentimes for a use like this. But in order to just clarify all of the issues and make sure that we were operating completely legally within the county, we did go ahead and proceed with the request for a conditional use for this property. I don't know if we can show the plat. I don't know if that's on here. But as you can see, there's only one short area that this property even abuts the property to the west, and there is a very solid tree row there. Then there is 60 feet of street right-of-way for a street that will eventually be constructed in there. And then beyond that, an additional 25-foot building setback for the homes there. So you've created at minimum an 85-foot setback from this property line to the property to the west. So a nice, good amount of separation there with a solid tree line. This area that you're seeing here will just be a corn maze. So that's something we'd like to get started as soon as possible. The parking area will be over here, and we will have gravel parking. There is there's a little slough that runs through here, and that is a dry bed most of the time, so that will handle any kind of drainage issues. Otherwise, you've just got some small areas for activities. Will be a seasonal use for the most part, but with the conditional use, that does allow us to have events, other times during the year, so that we are within all of the legal boundaries of this type of use. Again, we are in full agreement with all of staff comments. This is a great reuse of some equipment that was a real benefit to this community in this area. And we're glad to have a replacement for something that did get a lot of enjoyment, a lot of use from the previous pumpkin patch, and have a local family be able to carry that on. So I will be glad to stand for any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Commissioner Winsby?
Yes, the tree line that you're speaking of, is that in the street right-of-way or outside of the
That
right-of-way?
is on our property.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions for the speaker? Yes, Scott?
If I may, sir. Kim, speaking of that small drainage way that cuts across the property, is that the single access into the larger part of the property?
This little strip will be the access into the property, so that there will be a dedicated entrance. My clients actually live right here, and their driveway is right here, so they will be able to separate their personal drive traffic from the traffic coming in for the pumpkin patch.
And then a follow-up question to that is, it looks like, and I'm sorry, I just noticed this, but it looks like that creek is the 100-year floodway. So my question is, are they going to have a culvert or anything?
Yes, we are working with the state to get an approved crossing for that driveway.
Okay, thank you. Any additional questions? Yes, Commissioner Warren?
Kim, the parking, is that going to be grass, gravel?
It will.
concrete?
We're going to just leave it in natural state grass. I think that's a general expectation when anyone goes to a pumpkin patch, that they're not going to be parking on a paved lot, and we certainly don't want to introduce that amount of paving in an area that would affect, potentially affect drainage. So we would like to leave it in its natural state.
And do you have any idea what kind of hours?
I have Gage and Gerald Woodard here, who are going to be the operators, and so they are probably better equipped than I am to, it'll be your standard weekend hours on fall weekends leading up to the Halloween season, and some evening hours, nothing after dark.
Any additional questions? Would the owners like to chime in? Any comments, or you good?
Yeah, they are here if you have any questions, though.
Okay, seeing none, thank you.
Thank
Is
you.
there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this matter? Yes, sir. Please come to the podium, state your name and your address for our records, and you have 3 minutes.
Kevin Burke, 7400 West 53rd Street North. Some of my concerns are the stormwater runoff. The other concerns are noise and traffic. And I'm behind him. I think it's a great idea. But I still want to be able to get out of my house and drive down the road at certain times of the day. Also, that creek that goes down beside him, that is a source for a lot of the wildlife there. They travel up and down that creek. We've got a pair of bald eagles. We've got some wild turkeys. We've got coyotes. We've got things that travel up. And, I'm concerned about that, but I think it's probably for the better to develop that land and give something for kids to do. So I just have those concerns. That's the only I just wanted to be educated. That's the reason I'm here, so.
Okay, thank you, sir. Is there any questions for this gentleman? Saying none, is there anybody else that would like to speak on this? Yes, sir. You come to the podium. You have 3 minutes. Please state your name and your address for our records.
Hello, Dylan Schellenberg at 5159 North Shoreside Court. I'm here representing the development directly to the west, adjacent to this property, and also representing the homeowners that live out there. News kind of spread pretty quick, and I think it's a lot of the unknown, and people aren't very excited about it and just have a lot of questions, in which we didn't have a lot of answers as what we're trying to tell them, and make sure that they're aware of what's going on. In the application, it says that the development to the west is undeveloped, but we're about to kick off our fourth phase, in which is going to butt up against to the applicant. So there were some things on the application that seemed like they didn't know it was there, or as any pictures didn't show that there was an active development out there. Just as far as what the Coves is, it's a 390 home site. I mean, it's $250 million of a tax base for the city. We've got homeowners that are investing millions, builders. We've invested millions out there, and just kind of the unknown of what restrictions and what all they can do out there. Hours, can those hours change? And concerts, the proximity is one issue with the corn maze butting right up next to our homes. I mean, it's going to be about in their front yard, but the restrictions in place to protect these future homeowners so we can sell more lots and have people live out there. And as far as, the noise is one of the main issues that we see. When you're on a lake development like this, noise just travels. Everyone in this development will hear what's going on over there. And I'm sure the Woodards, it's going to be a fun place. Their kids are going to be laughing, screaming, and we just see that being an issue with everyone living out there trying to enjoy their fall, and just the noise right behind their house that will travel to everyone out there. It's not clear exactly. I think we know exactly what you're doing up front. I don't know what some of those stuff is, but once it's approved, they'll be successful. They're successful in everything they do. So we just don't know what this is going to turn into. And as far as what restrictions are going to be in place so we can protect the homeowners out there that we're representing and the builders that are investing out there. So we just requested to postpone this.
Okay, so your time is up.
Thank you.
Is there any questions for this gentleman? Yep, sir, do you have a copy of the staff report?
Yes.
Okay, if you was to, read this, a lot of your questions might be answered based on their recommendations and comments. But, you do realize right now that they can plant corn in it right now, so.
Yep. As far as like lighting around there, is there going to be, they have some height requirements, and whether you're distance from residential, but the hours of operation is once it's dark, so there won't be lights out there.
I can speak toward the lighting.
Okay.
The zoning code requires light poles to be no greater than 15 feet in height within 200 feet of residential zoning districts. That applies to even zoning districts outside of the county next door. Not to mention all the properties around it, even in the county, are zoned rural residential. Lights have to be directed away and down from the property lines so that it minimizes light pollution.
Thank you, Philip. Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, is there anyone else that would like to speak on this? Yes, sir, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes from now.
Yeah, Kenny Hallisey, address 7900 West 45th Street North, so this right here.
Sir, if you can use the mouse.
I'm sorry?
Use the mouse, please.
Yeah, see, first timer, can't tell. So down at the bottom, the pictures would lead you to believe there's nothing down there, and fully support everything going on. I shop at Woodard's all the time, but sound does travel across that lake, and there's a number of us that live down there that do have concern for the sound. A cornfield doesn't make noise on its own, but when you have a bunch of kids in there, it does. And there is, granted it's drag racing, much farther north of that does disrupt our family and our activities at night. And so anyways, I just wanted to concur with the things that have been said and just show a little additional support from someone that has a house down there. Thanks.
Sir, thank you. Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, is there anyone else that would like to speak on this? Sir, please go to the podium, your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
My name's Reginald Booth. We live at 7618 West 45th Street North. And I just want to reiterate what's been said about the concerns about sound. We live in the country because it's peaceful and we like it that way, but we're not anti-growth either. But we do know the sound really carries, and I just wanted to register that concern for us in our neighborhood. Secondly, would be a question of how restrictive this permit would be. Would it allow for the ultimate creation of a field of screens? I don't know how else to define that. We have several field of screens. One adjoins our property on the back, and several in close proximity, not that close, but within a mile. And I just would like to know whether this permit would prevent the corn maze from becoming a field of screams, because those do get extremely loud and they do operate after dark. And so that raises my second question, whether this permit will set specific hours and days of operation that have to be adhered to. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there any additional comments from the general public? Yes, please. Come to the podium, state your name and address for our record, and you have 3 minutes.
Marvin Schellenberg with Schellenberg Development Company, and we're the developer of the Coves. The Coves was something that started before the applicant had purchased their property, and it's been platted. And as I think Dylan alluded to earlier, and one of the other gentlemen, a lot of the pictures and everything shows there's no development, and there's a lot going on already. And phase 4 is right up against the applicant's property. As far as the street and in regards to Kim Edgington's points, the street will be as narrow as we can make it. The setbacks are going to be closer to the road. There are slab-on grades, and so it's a very tight quarters. And as far as the tree row, some of the trees are on his property, some are on ours. It's a fine line in there. It's a tree row from many, many years ago. So there's going to be issues what trees stay and what don't, because the road does have to be as close to that property line as possible. A lot of our concerns is what happens next, what controls that. Nothing in here says the hours, the days. It's supposed to be in the fall. It can turn into a spring venue. They're good business people. I try to grow it as big as we could. What stops this? What controls? What do we know is going to happen? And that's what we don't know. I'm not saying we're going to be totally against it, but there's a lot of concerns with what can happen in the future. And it's a big development. It's the nicest development in Sedgwick County. And so we have homes from 500,000 to close to 2 million. And so it's a big deal for the development.
Sir, thank you. I apologize. We didn't catch your address.
It's 2243 Northridge Road.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anybody have any questions from the commission? Yes,
I guess
Commissioner
we're
Austin.
requesting that it get deferred till we can find out more and talk with the developer and just learn more about the project. Because when the homeowners out there are asking me what's going on, I don't have a lot to be able to give them. And so because of all that, that's what we're requesting, is that this could be deferred.
Okay, Commissioner Austin, do you have a question? Okay. Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else from the public like to speak on this? Yes, ma'am, please come to the podium and your name and address.
My name is Paula Murphy.
My address is 8306 West Waterway Court. I live at the Coves, and I'm all for the Woodards doing this as well, but I do want to reiterate our moving there to be out north in the country by a lake with a very nice setting and area around us. My concern comes from, as was mentioned earlier, the drag racing that's up Ridge Road. You can hear it in your house at night when they're competing with your windows closed. So having something not necessarily on that same, I'm not saying it's going to be the same loudness or impact, but there's a concern with not knowing what is going to be specifically entailed there. So I support the Schellenbergs in their requesting to delay.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any questions from the commissioners? Yes, Commissioner Williams-Bay?
Yes, ma'am. Do you have a neighborhood association? Homeowner association, rather?
We do have a homeowners association, but it is still with the developer since we're still under 95% occupied by residences.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? Seeing none, is there anyone else that would like to speak on this? Last chance. Is there anyone else that'd like to speak on this? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the agent for the applicant.
Thank you, Kim Edgington, PSC Consulting, for the record. Just as you all well know, there is a site plan tied to conditional uses. This particular use has a very specific site plan that must be complied with. Anything outside of those bounds would require an amendment to the conditional use to go through this process again. Over 185 notices were mailed out on this particular project, so we've already expended a very significant investment in going through this process that would have been allowed by right under the agritourism exemption. So we feel like that by tying this to a conditional use, that there's very specific conditions. The staff has outlined those all quite well in your staff report, that this will ensure that this use is a good neighbor and is a benefit and an amenity to this community that has neighborhoods that are close by. We do want to retain the natural state as much as possible. That adds to the appeal of the overall project. And we as applicants were not the ones who mentioned that this property to the west is undeveloped. That was your staff report, and it is that is a condition of the property today. It is currently undeveloped. The right-of-way to the west, that right-of-way is 60 feet. Regardless of how narrow the street that is constructed in there, the right-of-way is 60 feet. The building setback for the homes is still 25 feet. So you have a minimum of 85 feet of separation for just this one area that is adjacent. So that would provide a very nice adequate buffer. We don't know what benefit there would really be in delaying this. All the proper notices were given, the signage was posted, so I would be glad to stand for any questions.
Any additional questions? Yes, Commissioner Mader?
I've not been able to find in any of the paperwork what the proposed hours are for this. Can you tell us, Kev?
Staff did not include that in their report or conditions. We are certainly amenable to discussing that. I don't know that there would ever be anything happening late at night here. We'd be glad to put there may be evening activities when it is fall, pumpkin parties, what they call them ghost walks sometimes through the corn maze. 10 o'clock seems like a reasonable, very reasonable restriction that we would be amenable to.
Okay. Any additional questions? Yes, Commissioner Williams-Bay?
Kim, were there any discussions held with the homeowners association adjacent to the property?
No, there weren't, because the homeowners association is still controlled by the developer. We did, my client did reach out to the developer a week ago Friday and did not hear back from him again until today, so,
Thank you.
thank you.
Any additional questions? Seeing none, Kim, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll bring it back to the commission. Staff is recommending approval with conditions. Yes, Scott, excuse me.
Yes, sir. There's been a few questions about land uses, and so I want to make sure that we've got that information for you before you take action. And so I'm going to defer to the zoning administrator to address whether or not concerts could occur or whether a haunted house could occur under this conditional use.
Thank you, Director Wadle. J.R. Cox, Metropolitan Planning, for the record. Concerts would not be included under this. Bands, karaoke, disc jockeys would not be included, would not be a permitted use. Haunted house, which I think is what we're talking about, Field of Screams. I've never been to one. I assume it's an outdoor haunted house. That theoretically could be included under this particular use that they've asked for.
Any additional questions, concerns? Commissioner Austin?
Just a quick question for planning staff. I know later on the agenda, there's an item for event centers in the county that has some guardrails for some generally perceived, things like trash and stuff. Do you feel like the staff's conditions that you're recommending on this are consistent with those? Because they seem to be very similar type activities in some ways.
Yeah, I think what I would say to this one is this is kind of unique. We've not seen a pumpkin patch recently. That's how it's described to us when we consider which category or land use definition it falls under. I think that opens it up to more things, as you've heard, like a haunted house. So based on the comments that we've heard, I think that's a question for you all about would it be appropriate to add some more guardrails in terms of hours, noise, setbacks, those kind of things. But is that something that could be done? Yes, it certainly could. And you're right, we do have other examples of land uses in cases where those are put in place and recommended to be in place.
Commissioner Mader?
I move that we approve as submitted and per all staff comments and requirements.
Second.
We have a motion for approval per staff recommendation and comments and a second. All supportive of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
And sir, just for the record, that was a unanimous vote, so. I had
I'm
12
sorry,
votes.
Scott.
Yes, sir, just for the record, just on the video, so that it was a 12-0 vote, what I
Thank you.
recorded.
Next agenda item is 4.4, PUD 2026-00001 in the city. Let's see, okay, Philip.
Good afternoon, Philip Zievenbergen for the record. PUD 2601 is a request to amend the Buffalo Grove Planned Unit Development number 83. The planned unit development is located generally on the northeast corner of East Pawnee Road and South 127th Street East. The requested amendment is only applicable to one platted lot, which is addressed as 2320 South Horseback Street. It is lot 25 on block 1 of the Buffalo Grove addition. You can see that it's the lot highlighted on your screen. The PUD consists of two parcels. Parcel 1 is the residential development, and then parcel 2 is a commercial, within the PUD allows for commercial uses, and then you have the Reserve A, which is the detention basin for stormwater. The subject site, so lot 25 is 0.22 acres in size. The requested amendment is to allow a group residence limited on the site in order to operate a Home Plus facility. The site is currently developed with a duplex, and speaking with the applicant, they intend to attach the two units by essentially putting a hole through the wall and connecting the two units together so it function as a single family home and not a duplex. They intend to finish the two-car garages on there into living space. A group residence limited allows up to 15 individuals who are not related by blood or marriage. The full definition is in the zoning code and also in your staff report. A home plus can operate as a group home by right based on the TF3 restrictions of the PUD. That allows up to 8 individuals to receive service with 2 staff members living on the site as well for a total of 10. We often see these cases come because current licenses allow for home pluses to care for 12 individuals. And so they have to go to group residence limited in order to get the 12, and then they would be allowed to have 3 staff members. As I mentioned, the PUD restricts parcel 1 to uses as permitted by right in the TF3 district. If this was standard TF3 zoning, a group residence limited would require a conditional use, which is why it has to go through amendment process because the public hearing processes are the same. Parking for a site is governed by General Provision 7 of the PUD. Typically, the zoning code would require 1 parking space per bedroom if this was in standard zoning. However, the PUD, with its custom development requirements, discusses that it only has to provide 2 parking stalls per dwelling. With it being a single-family home and the use operating within a single-family home, only 2 parking spaces are required for the entire site. That being said, since they do plan to finish the garage spaces where currently the parking is located or essentially counted, they would have to have those parking spaces in the driveway. Since the PUD essentially sets the standard for following the standard TF3 rules for setbacks and things like that, parking is not allowed within the front setbacks. So the amendment also discusses modifying General Provision 7 to allow for the parking for just this lot to be within the front building setback that would allow for the required parking spaces to be in the driveway legally. As we all know, people typically park in their driveways anyway. Properties to the north, south, east, and west are all within the PUD. Properties to the north and west are platted for residential development, but no dwellings have been constructed at this time. Property to the south, as I mentioned, is the drainage pond for the development, and property to the east is a platted reserve that separates the subject site from the golf course to the east. That's this larger property here. The site has access to South Horseback Street, which is a paved 2-way local street with a sidewalk on the east side. As you can see, it dead ends right at the subject property. You can take South Horseback Street to either Blake or Willow Green in order to get access out to South 127th Street East. The site is served by municipal services because the site is currently developing with dwellings within the subdivision. Wichita Transit does provide service near this location to the southwest with a stop at Southeast High School. The amendment is in conformance with the future growth concept map of the comprehensive plan, which identifies the property as appropriate for new residential and employment mix. That's described as areas of land that likely will be developed or redeveloped by 2035, with uses predominantly of a mixed nature. Due to the proximity of higher intensity business uses, residential housing types within the area likely will be of higher density. Due to the proximity of residential uses, employment uses likely will have limited negative impacts associated with noise, hazardous emission, visual blight, or odor. The PUD permits multifamily residential development up to 14.5 dwelling units an acre. Permitting group residence limited for a home plus facility is in line with this use category. Based upon the information available at the time of the staff report, staff is recommending approval subject to the conditions that are in your staff report. And the recommended language for it essentially adds group residence limited to be permitted only on lot 25 block 1. In addition to allowing the parking for lot 25 block 1 to be within the front building setback. This recommendation is based on the golden factors that are discussed in your staff report. At the time of the publication of the staff report, staff did not receive any public comment. However, you do have an email that I received at your desks from comment that we received after the staff report was sent out. I'll go through the site photos. If you go to the site photos, please. This is looking southeast at the site. This is the duplex that is constructed. Again, they plan to, connect the units together by putting a hole through the subdividing wall, creating one single-family dwelling. As you can see, the 2 garage spaces that they intend to convert to living space, and essentially the parking would then be allowed in the driveway space here. Next picture. This is the property to the north. It is an undeveloped residential lot. Next picture. This is the property to the west, another undeveloped residential lot. Next picture. This is looking south. This is the detention pond at the end of the street. And with that, I can stand for any questions.
Is there any questions from staff? Seeing none, thank you, Philip. Agent or applicant, please. Sir, you have 10 minutes. Please state your name and address for our records.
Yes, I'm Dr. Chefu, and my address is 7964 East Caribou Place, Bel Air, Wichita, Kansas 67226. Yeah, so we're trying to get modification here is to be able to operate a home plus, which is usually elderly folks above 65 at this location. So a lot of people say group homes and they just think, you can do several things at group homes. But for this change specifically, it's to operate a home plus, which we serve residents 65 years and above who usually are not able to drive, so they don't need parking, so there's not going to be a lot of cars coming into the neighborhood or everything. So it's usually quiet and peaceful. And approving this, we don't see it affect negatively impacting the neighborhood in either way. Since we already operate one of these, and from experience, we've not seen any issues. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions for the gentleman? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this? Yes, sir, please go to the podium. Please state your name and your address for our records. And you have 3 minutes, sir.
James Fass, 12713 East Castlewood Court, Wichita. I own a duplex on the street on East Blake. It is the fourth one in from 127th.
Sir, if you can use the mouse, you can, there you go.
I own this side of the duplex. My sister, who's accompanying me, lives on the opposite side, and she owns that side. Our concerns are not that we are viewed as being not in my backyard type of folks, but we are concerned if this is allowed to proceed, that the street, which is lined with duplexes, and certainly the other side of the street, which will be developed into duplexes and has potential for many small families with young children accessing this street on East Blake. Right now, there are several families with small children. They tend to play in their front yards, which are small, and then they throw balls out into the street and run out there. If a Home Plus is located here and there are families and caregivers accessing this street at different times of the day to visit family members here and also the caregivers caring for those people, this will increase the traffic pretty greatly here on East Blake. We know that there is access on East Willow Green, but this is probably not the choice of most people. They'll take the shortest route from 127th, going straight down East Blake over here to the residence at 2320 South Horseback. That is our biggest concern, is for the safety, and then also, since this is a fairly compact neighborhood, there are a lot of potentials for families to visit those residents in that group home, visitors, possibly ambulances, lights and sirens, and this adds to the noise of that neighborhood. And of course, the caregivers, of which there could be a number, considering the number of residents that could live in that dwelling. This is not a street on East Blake there. It's not a street designed for this kind of increased traffic. And we as owners of the properties were recently given our special assessments, and those are significant, and none of that will be shouldered by this one house. My time is up.
Okay, so your time has ran out. Is there any questions for the speaker? Yeah. Sir, you're aware there's about 40 plus more homes that could be developed there that might add just a little bit of traffic to that area, a lot more than just what this dwelling here would add.
I'm aware of that, yes. But in addition, it was mentioned that there are only 2 parking spaces per side. And if there are weekend visitors, let's say a dozen, and there are maybe 6 or 8 cars, they're not all going to fit on those 4 spaces, and they're going to be lining up and down the street there from that group home. And this poses some risk to the families that will be living there in the future as well.
Okay, thank you, sir. Is there any questions from the commission? Seeing none, is there anyone else that would like to speak on this item? Yes, ma'am, please come to the podium. Your name and address, please, for our records, and you have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Doreen Fast. I'm happy to be here, and I'm thanking you for your time this afternoon. I would like to speak on behalf of this matter because I am a resident on Blake Street currently. I've been there for 6 months. I bought this property in good faith that I was buying into a quiet residential neighborhood. When this came up, I want to respectfully say I was very disappointed, not in the idea of a group home per se, but because of what it does bring to the neighborhood. Traffic has been addressed, and I must say that there will be employees, possibly residents if they do have cars, service and delivery vehicles, visitors to the residences, as well as my greatest concern is emergency vehicles. Right next to me, I share a wall with 2 very young children. They have very little green space to play in. They are going to end up in the street, and I'm very concerned for their safety. And I do hope that all of you will take that into consideration. I believe also that the situation with the parking will cause an unpleasant and a heavy burden on those closest to this home because they are going to be lining the streets. So I just hope that all of you will take some of this into consideration. I was a little bit taken back that this zoning was not required before the building was built. I did notice as a resident that there was something different about this piece of property. I had my eye on it, and then the letter came. So now I know what was going on, and I really hope that you take into consideration the volume of traffic on the street. Yes, there will be other residences there. We all know that, and we accept that. But this is a very specific situation that creates a different kind of scenario. And we hope you take that into consideration. Each zoning decision should be evaluated on its own merits, with primary consideration given to the neighborhood's safety and compatibility. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, is there anyone else that would like to speak on this matter? Last chance. Okay, we'll bring it back to the agent or the applicant for rebuttal.
Yes. So, Dr. Chefu, 7964 East Caribou Place, Bel Air, Kansas, 67226. Yeah, so in order to address some of the complaints that have been raised by some of our neighbors, looking at, so speaking from experience, since we already run one of these, the effect on traffic in the neighborhood and the effect on traffic and parking will be minimal. And even with that, if we can pull up the pictures from the property, we expanded the driveway significantly compared to, as she mentioned, there's something different about this lot because when it was being built, we expanded the driveway significantly compared to the other one. So going a little bit to this side, the driveway goes another car length or two towards the pond direction. So to allow for more parking over here compared to the standard ones. And the fact that we also end up on a dead-end street would accommodate most all of the visitors pretty much from experience with running our other homes. Our employees, as you mentioned, this is a Home Plus is licensed by the state of Kansas, and there are like significant restrictions with who can work there or who can even come across there. So everyone is background checked, and we have to carry like 7 different checks before somebody is able to even be around our elderly folks, residents. So employees coming in, it's not one of those things that we should worry about. So that addressed the noise and the cars. And as mentioned,
Excuse me, sir, your time has ran out. Do you need any additional time? We can give you another minute.
Oh, yes, I just wanted to mention that the traffic flow into the neighborhood is not going to be significant compared to if we were by right, we can operate an 8-bed on each side of the duplex, which would take it up to 16 residents there. But we're going for 12 to reduce the number of impact that we have at the area.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for the, yes, Commissioner Williams Bay?
Sir, didn't you indicate that the residents would be non-drivers?
They are non-drivers, yes. They are 65 and above. Usually, they are not able to drive anymore.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Johnson?
I don't know if you know, but is Horseback Street, is that a dead end to the south, or is there cul-de-sac, or what's going to be there?
It's a dead end.
So how do cars turn around in your driveway?
Yeah, so they can turn around here if they want. But yeah, this is a dead end street. It just ends. So they can park there or drive. There's no lining.
Commissioner McKay?
At this present time, it's a dead end, but there's still development land, as you can see, the line of those duplexes down to Pawnee.
I'm sorry.
It could not be, that street could go right straight down to Pawnee.
I don't think so. There's a retention pond there.
Yeah, there's a retention pond, so it doesn't go.
Okay. Any additional questions? Sir, thank you. We'll bring it back for the commission. Staff has recommended approval with conditions. Is there any comments? Yes, Commissioner Warren?
I'd be hard pressed to find a location really that is better for a situation like this. They're unique, and the parking's different, and the traffic's different, but I don't see that as being significantly a problem in this area. If anything, it's going to be less. So with that, I would move that we approve per staff comments and recommendations.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. All signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion pass 12-0. And thank you. Next agenda item is 4.6. This is the zone case 2025-0006 in the county. The applicant or agent is not here for this. Staff is recommending denial. So the options that we could do is defer this until April 23rd, if that is the wish of the commission. Scott, do you have any comments you'd like to make on this?
Just the similar ones, sir, that in this instance, this is the first time this one's being heard, so our typical practice, yes, is that you've got the option that you can see if there are any public comments. I don't believe that there are. And then you've got the option to hear the public comments or not. In terms of what action to take, I would recommend deferral. I believe that.
I move for deferral.
Okay, well, before we get to that, do we need to hear the case at all, or could we just check and see if there's any public comments? Counselor?
Sorry, I would suggest inquiring if there is anyone here. I don't know that there is, Chairman, but I'd suggest doing that first before any motion.
Okay, is there anyone here from the public that would like to speak on this item? Good, nobody. Fix that problem.
I move for deferral.
Okay, we have a motion for deferral and second. All in favor, signify
If I could,
aye,
sir.
and that was for the 23rd.
Third, thank you.
Of April. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. This has been deferred to April 23rd. Thank you. The next agenda item that we have is 4.9. Christina, and the agent applicant is here?
Yes.
Okay.
Raise your hand.
I'm sorry. Okay, let it show that Commissioner Rossum will be recusing himself from this. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Christina Reith with planning staff here to present Zone 2609. The applicant is requesting a zone change from single family to multifamily, specifically MF18. The subject site is a little bit under a quarter acre in size, located on the east side of North Jeanette Avenue, within 150 feet north of West 23rd Street North. The subject site is currently vacant, and the applicant is requesting this zone change in order for 2 duplexes to be built on site. MF18 zoning allows for multifamily development at a maximum of 17.4 dwelling units per acre. So that would equate to up to 4 dwelling units. However, the site requires 12,000 square feet for 2 duplexes, and the site is a little bit over 10,000 square feet in size. So a variance application would be required to have 2 duplexes, but not 1 quadplex. Compatibility standards apply to all properties zoned MF18 or less restrictive when within 500 feet of properties zoned 2-family or more restrictive. So no structure on site shall exceed 35 feet in height when within 50 feet of TF3 or more restrictive zoning. And then the minimum compatibility setback for all properties is 15 feet plus 1 foot for each 5 feet of lot width over 50 feet. Solid screening that is 6 to 8 feet in height shall be provided where abutting or across the street, the alley from residential zoning districts. And the site would be required to comply with the Wichita Landscape Code. So that's 1 shade tree or 2 ornamental trees per 500 square feet of landscape street yard. Should the applicant decide to move forward with duplexes, 1 parking space is required per dwelling unit within a duplex, so 2 spaces per building. The character of the neighborhood is low-density residential, and that is what really steered our recommendation for this. All surrounding properties are developed with single-family residences and zoned SF5. So if we take a look at our zoning map here, everything that you see in white is zoned SF5. The nearest duplexes are over 1,000 feet away. If you can look in this corner here, 1,000 feet southwest of the subject site, and this is on North Burns Avenue, and those are duplexes. The site has access to North Jeanette Avenue, which is a 2-way local street with sidewalks on both sides. Water and sewer services are available nearby for the site. However, it does not have its own specific water main. The proposed application is in partial conformance with the Community Investments Plan. The Community Investment Plan's Wichita Future Growth Concept Map identifies the site as appropriate for residential uses. So that includes single-family dwellings, duplexes, and multifamily developments. One of the plan's locational guidelines, which provide a decision-making framework regarding land use changes, states that higher intensity development should be discouraged from locating in areas of existing lower intensity development, particularly established low-density residential areas. So the applicant is proposing a higher density housing in an established low-density residential neighborhood. And the zone change, excuse me, is not in conformance with the Wichita Places for People plan. The plan provides a list of strategies that help guide the community in creating walkable places within the city of Wichita. Strategy 6 aims to encourage infill and redevelopment that is contextual to the environment in which it is occurring. And the immediate environment is low-density residential. Staff is recommending denial of the zone change request based on the golden factors which are listed in your staff report. At the time the staff report was prepared, staff did not receive any comments from the public on the requested zone change. That still stands. I have not heard from the public. This is going to the District Advisory Board on Monday, April 13th, so this upcoming Monday. And should the MAPC find that the proposed land use is appropriate for the subject site, it is recommended that the Planning Commission adopt alternative findings and approve the zone change request as presented. So let's go through some of the site photos. This is looking east towards the site. Next slide, please. This is looking west away from the site towards a single-family residence. Next slide, please. This is looking north away from the site towards more single-family residences. Next slide, please. And this is looking south away from the site towards more single-family residences. And with that, I will stand for any questions. Thank you.
Is there any questions for staff? Seeing none, agent or applicant, please. Please state your name and your address. You have 10 minutes.
First of all, thank you for allowing me to speak today. Jorge de la Torre, 14808 West Moslin Street, Wichita, Kansas 67235. I'm gonna start with, I'm not a developer. We purchased this land about 6 months ago. My parents currently live on 2303 Fairview Street, which is right there about a mile away from the site. And the idea was to, my in-laws are now wanting to move closer to us, and they're coming from New Mexico. And one of the things are like, they're looking at all these areas that we could potentially move in. There's very, very low affordable housing in the Wichita area. And they wanted to be in an area where it's, where they can identify. And I could tell you, I grew up in that area. It is yes, low density, but rather than this was site was rezoned or not rezoned, but plotted. It's three lots available, so it's 75-foot front with 135 feet length. So rather than just making one single family home or maybe two, or maybe ask for a variance, and the reason we're present here is because we feel like maybe there's an opportunity for not only my in-laws, where potentially will be living in this home or in this area, but for other young families as well as elderly people that definitely don't want to leave that comfort zone of that area. So this is an opportunity for us not only to provide adequate housing for those for families, but also to create that opportunity for them. So. The proposed site is obviously two duplexes. We'll meet all the requirements with the landscape area, and there's a park about 500 feet north of there, which north of Janet. There is very low traffic. We're not intended to increase traffic, but this homes will have obviously will add a small amount of traffic in our opinion. But if, I'm stand for questions if anybody has questions.
Yes, sir. Thank you for bringing this to us. The problem that you're running into is that the property is not big enough for 2 duplexes. Would you consider more restrictive zoning like a TF3 that would allow just 1 duplex?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, because otherwise it's not going to fit.
Yeah, and those are the conversations we were having with as we were going through this application. And just so you know, we're not experts in this, so we're trying to obviously maximize the space, but also making sure that we, obviously go through the proper opportunity to do this. So it is my understanding that for a single family, you needed at least 50 foot of front. In it, so we could potentially ask for a variance and put two single units, or maybe a duplex would also be another opportunity. We decided to do this obviously based on some recommendations and some things that we've seen get passed get through the process in the past. And that's kind of the why we decided to make this application. But we will reconsider and make sure that we can add that in the future. However, if a variance needs to be, we need to have a variance or apply for a variance, we can definitely do that as well.
Well, again, just to be clear, you would have to look at doing a TF3 with only 1 duplex, not 2.
Okay.
So would you be good with that if that comes out that way?
Yes.
Okay, now the question for staff. Would staff have a problem with that?
I think in looking at it, one of the things that we looked at for our recommendation, what they're requesting today is that the request was to go to MF18, which is a pretty dense multifamily district. TF3, duplexes and single-family districts, we in older parts of Wichita, you find a mix of this, and even in newer parts, you're starting to find a mix of this. So I think from my perspective, that could be compatible. Usually when we get into those, it becomes more of a discussion about what's it look like and the design and that kind of thing. But I think that could reflect some of the older, more traditional neighborhoods that we have.
Okay, let me ask a question to staff or legal. Would this be something that we would have to defer for the applicant to work out with staff if we're looking at changing the request from 18 to TF3? Or would that be something that this body can make a recommendation of approval, for example, if that's what the board wants to do with the TF3?
The notice would be the same, is my understanding, so I believe it would be okay to proceed today.
Okay, so the board recommends the TF3 would be good, then we wouldn't have to do deferral?
As long as the applicant is okay with that, correct?
Okay, again, sir, would that be something that you'd be good with?
Yes, what would be my next step? And obviously I can talk to staff after the meeting and we'll proceed with that.
That would be your next step. So,
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. Is there
Thank you.
anyone from the public that would like to speak on this matter? Anybody from the public like to speak on this matter? If not, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
I will bring it back to the commission for your thoughts. Commissioner Austin?
Yeah, pardon me, Mr. Chairman, I got confused. I didn't have my reading glasses on, so I won't recuse myself from this case, just to clear up the record.
Yeah, you did?
I did accidentally. I was thinking of the next case, so sorry about that.
So you unrecruit yourself?
I'm unrecusing myself. It's embarrassing. Just call me a newbie.
It's okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve for a deferral so the applicant and staff can get back together.
Okay, there is a motion for deferral that would allow the applicant and the staff to get together. Or, I guess, is there an alternative motion?
Make an alternative.
Yeah, Commissioner Warren?
Is there a second to the first motion first?
We do have a motion. Is there a second on the deferral? Hearing none, we can entertain a
Question?
alternative. Yes, sir.
I
Commissioner
guess I would,
Nelson?
what the district advisory board feeling is gonna be on this between now and when we would defer this to.
Okay, just, so is that a motion, or is that just a comment?
I guess it'll go before the district advisory board anyway, so a deferment until the 23rd meeting would allow for that. So
Okay.
we know that when it comes back.
Okay, we do have a
So I don't need
substitute,
it.
motion.
I don't need any motion.
No, I get that. We do have a substitute motion.
Oh, well, yeah, a substitute. I'll make a substitute motion that we approve to a TF3.
Okay, is there a second? We have a substitute motion to approve to a TF3. And we have a second. All in favor of the substitute motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Okay. Sir, get with staff. I think that's, was that 11? 11-0? Sir, get with staff and they can walk you through what's the process that you need to do next.
I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, now where are we at? That was
Chairman,
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 4-9, huh?
attorney has a question.
Chairman, I just would like to get on the record that Commissioner High has left.
He is gone, isn't he? Okay. Thank you. Okay, the next agenda item is 4.12. CUP 2026, that's 0006. Philip.
Good afternoon, Philip Zevenbergen again for the record. CUP 2606 is an amendment request to Community Unit Plan DP 225, located on the south side of West Maple Street within a quarter-mile west of South 135th Street West. The request is to modify screening requirements for trash receptacles, loading docks, outdoor storage, and loading areas on parcel 4. The property is zoned limited commercial. It is 1.08 acres in size. Just for clarification, parcel 4 of the community unit plan is the one that is highlighted. And please note, if you actually go back to the aerial, notice the parcel boundary between it and parcel 1, which is to the east, that is, goes down the driveway and splits the driveway in half. So the shared access drive is on equal sides of the parcel boundary. The requested amendment is to waive paragraph 3 of General Provision 25, which states, in the event a single tenant building greater than 8,000 feet is built, trash receptacles, loading docks, outdoor storage, and loading areas shall be appropriately screened with similar materials to the main building to reasonably hide them from ground view and shall be prohibited within 50 feet of residentially developed property. The reason this request was submitted for parcel 4 directly relates to the development on parcel 1. Do we have that exhibit where I have the red lines and the green lines identifying required screening? It's an aerial. There you go. So again, Dollar Tree is on parcel 1, but as I mentioned before, the parcel boundary divides the drive in half. And so the way in which Dollar Tree is developed with their loading area here in the southwest corner of the building, screening would be required to hide it from ground view. Some of that screening, as the site is currently developed with no building on parcel 4, would have to be built on parcel 4. It is currently under the same ownership, so there's no issue on having to build something on somebody else's property because it's under common ownership between the two parcels. What you see in green is the trash receptacle that is currently screened per the requirements of the CUP. There's a masonry wall on the 3 sides here, except for the wooden fence, which is the gate from which the trash receptacle is accessed. And then not part of general provision 25, but what's over here is HVAC equipment, and that is also screened. So what we're looking at here, and I worked with the zoning administrator on what would appropriately screen the loading area from ground view, and what you see in red is essentially where screening would need to be installed. Per general provision 25, it'd have to share the materials of the building, which requires it to be a masonry wall. Staff is recommending denial. The way in which the application was submitted would essentially waive this paragraph, not only for what's here on parcel 4, but if the remainder of parcel 4 was developed with a building at some point, it would waive those requirements for what is developed on parcel 4. Part of that not only is the waiving of the requirement from those items being viewed from ground level view, but it also waived the requirement that those items have to be 50 feet away from residentially developed property, which would allow them to be on the west side of the parcel, nearest to the residential properties that are existing. So staff's perspective is that the way in which the application was submitted, the waiver of that entire paragraph for parcel 4, though intended to address possible conflict between how things are developed right now, would ultimately have detrimental impacts in the future to the residential properties around, because it would no longer require those items when parcel 4 is developed with a commercial structure. My understanding is there's no immediate plans for development on parcel 4. They're actively marketing it, and the applicant can elaborate on that a little bit more. I'm speaking from what was discussed at the District Advisory Board this past Monday. Even if screening was waived on parcel 4, screening of the loading area on parcel 1 would still be required. So regardless of the outcome of this application related to parcel 4, screening of the loading area for those parts of the loading area that are on parcel 1 still requires screening and adherence to paragraph 3 of general provision 25. If you go to the general aerial map, the surrounding context is a mix of commercial and residential. Properties to the north are zone limited commercial, these properties here. One is developed and one is undeveloped. There's a protective overlay on those. You also have a little bit of overlap on an SF5 property that is developed with a single family home. Properties to the west, as we discussed, they're zoned SF5 and developed with single family homes. Property to the south is zoned SF5, but is part of the larger golf course area. Property to the east, parcel 1, which is developed with the Dollar Tree. East of the parcel 1 is LC. Both of those are within the community unit plan. The one on parcel 2 is developed with a dentist office. There's a significant amount of case history on this side. I'll just hone in on a couple items here. Related to the Dollar Tree, there was a administrative adjustment that modified the architecture. That administrative adjustment was appealed to the Board of Zoning Appeals. The Board of Zoning Appeals upheld the staff approval and allowed the Dollar Tree to be built with the architecture that is currently on the site. In June of 2025, an administrative adjustment was approved, removing the masonry screening wall requirement along parcel 1. It was going to require a screening wall along the back. The intention of that screening wall was when this entire area was all parcel 1 and it has subsequently been split. And so that was approved and no screening wall was required along the rear of parcel 1. I should note that if parcel 4 is developed, they will be required to have a screening wall along the west property line. That's a different general provision related to the screening of the commercial uses, but just for clarification, this is not a matter of whether or not screening of the commercial uses would be waived. This was a matter of screening of loading areas, loading docks, and outdoor storage and trash receptacles. The last two items related to administrative adjustments, one in 2025 and here right at the beginning of 2026, which essentially were the genesis of this amendment, was a request to modify screening requirements of the loading areas for the Dollar Tree property. One of the requested adjustments was to allow for a screening fence as opposed to a wall. That one was denied, and due to being determined to be inconsistent with the CUP, as well as receiving public opposition against it, it was not something staff wanted to approve administratively. And then here in 2026, there was another request to modify the screening requirements altogether. Again, similarly, was denied, and that is what was the impetus for the amendment, and here we are today. Access to the site is from West Maple through that shared access drive. As you can see, West Maple currently is a 2-lane arterial. However, plans are actively in the works for an incoming expansion of it all the way to 167th. The site has municipal services because Dollar Tree's hooked up, and it would support development on parcel 4 as well. The proposed amendment is not in conformance with the community investments plan, though it identifies it for new residential employment mix, which is a mix of commercial and residential uses. The level of commercial development near low-density residential was deemed appropriate when the CUP was first approved. Approval included mitigating factors such as screening of loading areas, etc. A request to completely waive such a requirement is not in conformance with the CUP or the intent of the use category of the community investments plan. As further detail in the locational guidelines, staff is recommending that screening requirements stay, which meets the spirit and intent of the CUP while promoting compatibility among land uses. The locational guidelines, land use compatibility guideline 3A states, except in mixed-use developments, residential and non-residential developments, areas generally should be separate and distinct with appropriate screening and buffering to ensure compatibility among land uses while maintaining connectivity among uses. As I mentioned before, requesting to completely waive this paragraph as it was submitted with the application would not promote compatibility among land uses with the residential to the west. So again, staff is recommending denial based on the factors that are listed in your staff report. This went to the District Advisory Board for District 4 on Monday night. The request was, a recommendation for denial was passed with a 5-2 vote. Several members of the public were there to speak, and I believe they're here today as well. So I will let them discuss their concerns. You have emails in your staff report. You also received a packet of public comment that we received in the mail earlier this week that I compiled into one document and forwarded to you guys by email earlier this week, just kind of to save paper. Since I emailed them to you, I did not print them out on your desks, but you did receive them via email. Let's go through the site pictures. This is looking to the southeast. This is the rear part of Dollar Tree. This is the loading area in question. You can see the trash receptacles are appropriately screened with their masonry wall on the 3 sides, but the fence gate on the front. Next picture. This is looking to the northwest. Again, this is technically on parcel 4. This is the shared drive, so the parcel boundary runs somewhere here in the middle. This is the undeveloped portion of parcel 4. Here's the residential properties to the west. Next picture. This is looking due west through parcel 4 to the residential properties. Next picture. This is behind the Dollar Tree. Again, here's the trash receptacles. This is the screening for the HVAC. Separate screening requirements. HVAC was not required to have the masonry wall. Next picture. This is looking south. This is looking towards the golf course. Next picture. This is looking to the southwest. This is the boundary between parcel 1 and parcel 2. The parcel 2 is developed with the dentist office. This was a voluntary fence. This was a fence put up by the dentist office. Nothing required by the CUP. It was just a voluntary choice of their own. Next picture. And with that, I can stand for any questions.
Philip, I got a question. Do you have an aerial that shows the CUP for the whole area right there?
Do you want the CUP document image, or the aerial, the CUP encompasses
That's what I'm.
this
right
rectangle.
there.
Yes,
And that whole area is under one CUP, correct?
correct.
And they all have to abide by the same requirements.
Regarding general provision 25, paragraph 3, yes, there have been modifications to the CUP in the past.
Could you go back, there was an arrow a photo that you had showing the property or the drive and stuff, and then the front parking area.
Probably looking northwest.
Yeah, I want to go back to that one too. I got a question on that
So
one.
this one. So this way's north, this
No,
way's.
there's another one.
Are you wanting to look directly west?
Well, where it shows the front, the parking in the front of the building.
Oh, just go to the zoomed in aerial with the screening lines on it. There you go.
Yes, that one.
This parking in the sidewalk.
Actually, my question is, between the two properties, I think that's parcel one, right there.
This is parcel
and
one. This is
the
parcel
property,
two.
right, yeah, right to the east, right there. Why is there a gap between the concrete right there?
I can't answer that question. My understanding is the CUP requires cross-lot access.
That's where I was going with that. So the CUP does require that, and there's also, they require the frontage sidewalk too, don't they?
That's my understanding.
Okay. Can we
Separate
go
from
back
this
to?
request, we're focusing on but
Right,
that is,
I
yeah.
get that. I just, want to know to me, the whole thing is germane. Can we go back to the dumpster area?
So looking southeast. There you go.
Yeah, that one. Right there is a screening. It is screening that dumpster, but my question and my concern is that if you have to put another solid screening wall in front of that, how was that dump truck going to access that? There's no way that truck is going to be able to maneuver
I
around.
guess staff's
it.
perspective is access to the trash enclosure should have accounted for screening of the loading area to where it would, if there was a screening wall here, essentially coming out away from the building, it could make it difficult to access the trash enclosure, but the trash enclosure was built without consideration of the entirety of the screening that was required for this portion of the site.
Got to look at feasibility where you can put things too, I guess. Okay, does any, Commissioner Johnson, do you have a question?
Can you use your microphone, please?
Direction is that picture taken?
We're
from?
looking southeast, so this is due south towards the
Yeah.
golf course. This is the western facade of Dollar Tree. So this is a southeasterly direction looking through this gap. So the homes are opposite. The homes are over here. This is Dollar Tree. On the other side of the Dollar Tree is the dentist's office. This is looking, again, in a southeasterly direction.
Is the arrow pointing the right way?
Yeah, so the arrow is looking at, so Dollar Tree's on this rectangle here. So I'm on parcel 4 looking through to parcel 1.
Thank you.
Yep.
Commissioner Williams-Bay?
So Philip, am I understanding correctly, the trash enclosure could have been put in a different location?
There was no specifics from a zoning point of view of where their trash enclosure was. They chose to site it at this location.
Okay, so if it had been put in a different location, we may not have the issue with them having a tight space to drive into.
Essentially, from staff's perspective, the trash enclosure was built and there was no screening installed for the loading area, and now to install screening for the loading area would create a tight access to the trash enclosure.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bill Johnson?
Philip, now there was a permit pulled on this, and an occupancy permit issued.
Correct. This is coming before us because of a notice of violation, because they have not been in compliance with the screening requirement of the CUP.
You're saying there was something on the original plans that they didn't do.
They built the building through the building permit process, and I'm not sure if the screening of the loading area is reviewed during that, but either way, they're still required to comply with the provisions of the CUP, and they have not been in compliance, and a notice of violation has been sent to them, and it was the impetus of the application process, starting with the administrative adjustments.
How long ago was this building finished and Dollar Tree occupied?
It's probably been within the last couple years, 2 years we're getting.
Commissioner Mader?
Correct me if I'm wrong here. I seem to remember we worked on this a year or so ago. The building was erected and the finishes on the building were not according to either the CUP. And so we had to do a variance on that. Am I correct? This was after the building was built, right?
To some degree, yes. The process was an administrative adjustment was approved to alter the architectural requirements. There was an appeal of the administrative decision, which was heard by the Board of Zoning Appeals. And that's the variance I think you were talking about. Not officially a variance, but essentially yes.
Remembering it better. Whoa. Remembering it a little bit better now, but that's scary.
Any additional questions, comments for staff? Yeah, Commissioner Zimmerman?
Bill, just for your information, the certificate of occupancy is dated 9/10/24.
Okay, any additional comments or questions for staff?
I have another question.
Yes, Commissioner Zimmerman?
Who drew those red line walls?
I did in concurrence with the zoning administrator so possibly not exactly to scale, but a general understanding of where screening would need to be installed in order to properly screen the loading area for ground level view.
I assume the owner is not happy with those walls?
I will defer to them during their comments. I can say from District Advisory Board, they would like to see them go away and have brought up the understanding that it would be difficult to access the trash enclosure.
I would upgrade that to impossible to get to the trash can.
Okay, any additional comments, questions? Seeing none. Philip, thank you. Agent or applicant, please. You have 10 minutes. Please state your name and address for our records.
Thank you. Kim Edgington, PSC Consulting, 144 North Emporia, Wichita, Kansas. First, would like to clarify Commissioner Mader's comment. There was never a variance granted for the design of this building. After the administrative adjustment to vary the appearance of the building was denied, we went back to staff and altered the designs of the building to meet staff's requirements. Staff did issue a building permit for the building. The issuance of that building permit was protested and came before the BZA. The BZA found in favor of staff and upheld their decision to issue that building permit. The neighboring property owner then appealed the decision of the BZA to the 18th Judicial District Court, which again upheld BZA's decision, found it to be rightful decision. That is currently being appealed yet further. So, one of the issues that we have is for the city to pursue enforcement action against this property that is still in litigation is somewhat questionable, but we're going to leave that up to legal staff to figure that out. But it has gotten dragged out for a great length of time, and I'm sure a great length of expense. And that is, again, so we are here today because we have gone through several adjustment requests, making reasonable requests to look at another way to handle the screening on this because as was noted by one of the planning commissioners, a certificate of occupancy was granted for this property. And the requirement of a screening wall was not included on building plan review. So if we had been aware that a screening wall would be required in front of the trash dumpster, we certainly would have made some different plans there. Would also like to clear up that we are not making any request to change anything else on this lot. We do not want to put trash enclosures, outdoor storage, loading docks any closer than what is currently permitted by the CUP. You were, I think, submitted some alternative language that we have suggested. If you don't have it in front of you, I've got some copies of that as well. This is clearly spelled out in the language that we have recommended that is revised to state that required screening of loading area as depicted in red lines. If we can go to that one slide with the red lines. On Exhibit 3 of MAPD staff report shall be waived across parcels 1 and 4. All other requirements of paragraph 3 of General Provision 25 of the CUP shall remain in effect. This ensures that the protections that were always established within this CUP are granted for the neighboring property owners. There is also a requirement, again, for a masonry screening wall along this west property line. There's an additional 35-foot building setback that will still be complied with as well. When this parcel develops, that since the property line runs in the middle of this driveway, the building itself will screen the Dollar Tree from the houses to the west. And I've also put together some photos that demonstrate that this is not an unreasonable request. We looked at properties all around this intersection. Nowhere else are properties required to screen loading areas. So I'm going to... And this includes very significantly larger, more intensive uses than the one that we are speaking of today. We've got the Dillons at the southeast corner of 135th and Maple. You can see two shots of different loading areas of the Dillons that are not required to be screened. The northeast corner of Maple and 135th, the back of those buildings, their loading areas and trash receptacles, which their CUP requires screening of, have not been done. The Walgreens at the northeast corner of Maple and 135th as well. All of those loading areas are not required to be screened. So this is not out of character for what is already existing in this neighborhood. The language that we have recommended guarantees that no other provisions of this CUP will be affected by the amendment request. All other provisions remain in effect, legal, enforceable provisions. There are provisions of the CUP that are not being enforced on other parts of this CUP, which would address some of the comments I think that were submitted in some of your opposition papers regarding the site circulation. That if that were being provided as required by the CUP, that could help solve a number of the issues regarding site circulation. Because a user does not agree with the uses that are within the CUP does not absolve them of the responsibility of adhering to them regarding site circulation and a sidewalk. So the Dollar Tree is accessed just once a week for deliveries on Thursday mornings. And the slide that you have on the screen right now shows exactly what would be accomplished by the construction of the masonry screening wall that is being asked for by the planning staff, which is very little. It is a very huge expense. As many of you know, the construction of a masonry screening wall is not a simple construction project. Requires substantial support, substantial footings, and is a significant investment. Especially given the fact that once there is a building built in there in between, it really does not serve much of a purpose and is more than likely will be torn down upon construction of the new building. At this point, I would be glad to stand for any questions. Again, like I said, case has a very long history. And what we are asking for is certainly a reasonable request, given the situation at all of the other corners of this intersection, and is something that will be remedied in the very near future with the development on parcel 4. And we would ask for any questions that you have at this point.
Any questions for the applicant? Commissioner Williams-May?
If we look at that picture there, we're not only asking for screening along the driveway, we're also asking for an extension out from the building?
That is a request of staff that
Yeah.
there be a masonry wall built in this location.
I don't see how you'd ever get a truck in there.
Right, and again, we would not have constructed the trash enclosure in that location had we known that that was going to be a requirement.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? Kim, I've got a quick question regarding the screening right there. Staff's recommending a masonry wall, and I don't know where this is gonna go on that, but in the event that you still had to have a screening up there, would you consider or be approval of maybe an alternative type screening?
We would, and we actually submitted an adjustment application to do just that, and construct this portion of the screening in a wood fence. So the screening would still be accomplished, it would simply be a different building material.
Would that wind up being a permanent or a temporary until the other property gets developed?
It would be there until the other property is developed, and then we would work out site plan issues at that point.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Johnson?
Kim, do you know, the existing screening along the residence to the west, is that a wood fence now?
That is a wood fence now. It runs the entire property. This property was rezoned for commercial development in 1996. These homes were constructed anywhere from 2006 to 2012. So this commercial development has, been on the books and a very present development for a great deal of time. So this is definitely not something new. And again, with the language that we have submitted to you, all of those other requirements of the CUP would remain in full force and effect.
Thank you.
Commissioner McKay?
Kim, what is to the south of this development?
That is we have a landscape buffer in here, we've got plantings. This is the golf course, and this is their maintenance facilities. Does that answer your question? So right here, we've got tree plantings in there, and then the property line, and then golf course property.
Golf course is that's the driving range.
Right, it's not part of the actual course, but it is.
Driving range of the golf course.
Right. It is golf course property, not the actual, any driving or tee box or anything of the.
Any additional questions? Kim, thank you. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to come and speak on this matter? If so, come to the podium. You have 3 minutes. Please state your name and address for our records. Again, is there anyone that would like to speak on this matter?
While the first one comes up, I want to make you aware, Chair, that 3 video comments were also submitted. We ran it by legal. They're less than 2 minutes each. So as part of the public comment at some point, we will like to listen to those comments that were submitted for folks who were not able to attend.
Okay. Yeah, sir, please state your name and your address for our records, and you have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Mohammed Eftekhari. Our address is 13705 West Maple, Wichita, Kansas 67235. My wife and I own the dental building adjacent to the site. I am speaking to you today as a directly impacted business owner to ask that you deny this amendment. Your planning staff recommends denial because this pushes a loading area directly against residential homes. But as you see on the screen, this is about more than just an ugly view. The developer is trying to erase an active criminal violation. For months, they ignored the city's warnings. Now they are facing a municipal criminal complaint for breaking the rules. They are asking you to change the law simply because they refuse to follow it. If you approve this, you are telling every developer in Wichita that zoning codes are optional. Next slide, please. Beyond the legal precedent, look at this massive public safety liability on the screen. OSHA has documented over 800 serious incidents at loading docks in areas, including numerous fatalities. But this isn't an isolated warehouse. This is an active retail parking lot. As the diagram shows, a 70-foot semi-truck has to reverse completely blind through customer parking stalls while avoiding pedestrians just to reach the doors at the back. This is a disastrous site design. This screening is required by the CUP to protect the public from exactly this type of hazard, and they're asking you to strip that protection away. Next slide, please. The applicant claims they face a hardship, but look at the map on the screen. This is a self-created hardship. The developer owns both the Dollar Tree parcel and the vacant parcel next to it. They have plenty of land. It's all theirs. They have 100% control over it. They can move the trash receptacles. They can move the driveway. They can move the parking spots. This is a self-created hardship. They have 100% control, and they don't want to do it. And that's why we're here today. We're playing a shell game, and they want to remove the rules for parcel 4 so they can sell it. But let me be absolutely clear, and I'm quoting directly from page 2 of your staff report. A request to eliminate the screening for parcel 4 does not eliminate the screening requirement for the loading area on parcel 1. All this amendment does is destroy the last protections homeowners on 9 Iron Court have, many of them here today. It completely eliminates the 50-foot buffer, permanently exposes their backyards to unscreened trash, storage areas, and an unscreened loading area. I'd like to request 1 minute.
Sir, you have your time's up. You get one more minute.
Thank you, sir. This isn't just my opinion. Your own planning staff warned that this will cause detrimental visual impacts to these homes. They even took it a step further, officially calling it a detriment to the public welfare. In conclusion, developer convenience is not a valid hardship. Please stand with your planning staff. Protect the city's zoning integrity and deny this amendment. And I'd also just like to point out one last thing. The CUPs of the neighboring developments are not relevant to our current situation. This is our CUP. This was designed to protect us. It was designed specifically for us. It wasn't designed for the Dillons. It wasn't designed for the Walgreens. This CUP is an independent entity just for this area. Thank you. And if you have any questions.
Yep, sir, actually, I do have a quick question. Where exactly is your business located?
We are, I'll use the mouse, I'm sorry. Right here, the dental office right here.
Okay, so you're within the CIP too?
Yes, we are
CUP,
also within the
excuse me.
CUP.
Okay, and you agree that you must abide by all the regulations of the CUP?
Yeah, we're all on the same playing field.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Oh, and
Does anybody else have any questions? Does anybody else like to speak on this matter? Okay, sir, please come to the podium, your name and address for our records.
Good afternoon. I'm Kelly Sheehan. I live at 310 South 9 Iron Court. So my wife, Teresa, and I live there, and it's the home right next to Maple, the north end of the residential homes there. and right next to this lot. So we just purchased this home last July. And I retired from my job as a Boeing engineer, and my wife is a semi-retired school teacher. And this home is where we plan to live out our retirement years. So when we were looking at this home last year, one of our main concerns was naturally what was the future of this empty commercial lot next to our backyard. We wonder what type of business is going to go in there. Will it be an eyesore? What are the requirements? It seems risky to buy a home next to an undeveloped lot when you don't know what will be built there, of course. But we were assured by the seller that we are protected by the city zoning and the CUP screening requirements, which protect neighboring residents from adverse visual impacts. So that was a big reason why we went ahead and bought the house. And so far, I'm glad we did. Our new neighborhood is quiet and well kept, and we love the new home. And I enjoy, watching the sunrise over the city from our east picture window or back deck. So, living next to a commercial property is not ideal. But we decided we could live with it, with the protections that we were promised. So the amendment requests that I've seen, that's in your staff report, states, quote, "The purpose of this request is to waive paragraph 3 of General Provision 25 for Parcel 4, unquote." So as you know, paragraph 3 is what spells out the screening and the 50-foot buffer zone requirements. So waiving these protections deletes the rules that protects our homes. So I would ask that you please follow the planning staff and advisory board recommendation to deny this request.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, is there anyone else that'd like to come and speak? Please state your name, your address, and you have 3 minutes.
I'm Chris Ryan, and I live at 306 South 9 Iron Court. My husband and I own our home on 9 Iron Court, and we do live not quite backed up to the Dollar Tree, but it is part of our view and the screening requirement. And I guess my issue, and I want to make sure we know, that before they really defined everything with that building, those CUP requirements were in place. Before Dollar Tree came in, before they sold it to anyone else, if that was going to be retail and there was going to be any kind of a loading door, there was going to be a division there with some kind of a screening requirement. And now, a year ago in May, we were here because of the building design. And at that time, you guys really promised us that the building design had nothing to do with our view because we were going to have a screening wall and a wall once that final parcel was developed that would completely divide us. And I guess my question is, if this developer has to do that wall anyway, could they not do it now and do that wall and call it our buffer, and then they can develop what they want on it, but they're going to do it regardless? Could we not talk about maybe taking care of that 8 foot or whatever they've got to do to divide that 50 foot from the residential, and let that be the screening wall if we're going to fight this every 2 weeks? Because right now we've been in here twice and we've had 2 different adjustments where they've tried to do it without a hearing to either talk us into a wooden fence, which I think you saw the wooden fence behind the air conditioning. It's not a durable. It's not going to help us with sound barrier or anything else that's going to be permanent, and give us at least a chance to not have to look out at a complete wheel of semis, and they're only delivering once a week according to her, but they've got UPS in there, they've got FedEx in there. They get shipments for the Dollar Tree other than semi that comes through that delivery door. So anyway, I just hope you'll at least go with what the DAB suggested and the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, is there anybody else that'd like to speak on this? Yes, sir. Again, please state your name, address for our records. And you have 3 minutes.
Jeff Ryan, and also at 306 South 9 Iron Court. I'm here today because we've been waiting for a decision on this for frankly a long time. I'm kind of tired of the games everybody's playing. This developer has already tried twice to get around the rules through administrative adjustments. These have been side deals that didn't ever reach a public hearing. These decisions are happening behind closed doors. It seems like we wouldn't even know what's going on, but at least they are posting signs on the curbs of this property saying that something's going to change again. It really shouldn't be this difficult to hold the developer accountable what they agreed to when they started building on this. They knew the rules. And while the developer has been searching for loopholes, I've watched two good neighbors give up. They've sold their homes and moved away because they couldn't wait any longer. They were tired of looking at loading docks and hearing constant noise in their backyard. Our street literally is losing families because this project's never completed the way the law had required and the way we were told it was going to happen. So I have to ask, will these games end? Are we going to request or keep required what is actually required? So every time we turn around, there's a new excuse or a new way to avoid building the screening wall. The developer is treating the neighborhood like we're part of their budget, but we're really not a part of their budget. We're a neighbor. So I guess you see the truck here. If you walked out of your house and you got to see this all the time, would that be truly acceptable for you? I mean, if it is, I guess, well, this is the way life's going to be. But right now, I'm hoping that you'll go with the recommendation of the city and DAB and get things taken care of so we can have some screening.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for the speaker? There's nobody else here that's in the audience that'd like to speak. I believe we have some that are on the visual thing there.
Tybin, go ahead and queue them up, and just when one's done, queue up the next one and go through all three.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Benaz Reyes-Jana. I own and operate Auburn Family Dental, located at 13705 West Maple Street, right next to the Dollar Tree development next door. Thank you to the District Advisory Board and the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission for allowing me to share my concerns with you today via video. I am speaking to you to strongly oppose the CUP amendment that is up for discussion. When I chose to build my practice here, I was initially a tenant at the Kansas Bank, at the time it was Kansas Bank, building directly east of where I am located right now, and really appreciated the high standards of that community unit plan. I invested heavily in this location because I believe the rules are in place to protect the character of the neighborhood. This proposed amendment directly impacts me by attempting to waive the screening requirements for the development next door. Allowing a waiver to remove the required screening for a semi-truck loading area, trash receptacles, and outdoor storage completely undermines the standards of the CUP. If we lower the bar here, we're telling every business that the rules we all agreed to don't actually matter. But my concern goes much deeper than just zoning regulations. Auburn Family Dental isn't just a business. We are part of this community. Many of the families who live right behind this development in the Auburn Hills Ironwood neighborhood are my patients. I care deeply about them and their quality of life. They shouldn't have to look out their back windows to see unscreened semi-trucks or deal with the noise and disruption of a loading dock right at their property line. It's not what they signed up for. Waiving this rule removes a 50-foot buffer that was specifically designed to protect their homes. The applicant has enough land to do this the right way and build the proper screening. They're simply choosing not to. I played by the rules when I built my practice, and I expect the same from the developers next door. I respectfully ask you to protect our community standards, protect my patient's neighborhood, and deny the CUP amendment. Thank you for your time and your service to Wichita.
Scott, they still have to stay within the 3 minutes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Trey Anderson. I'm a pediatric dentist with ICT Pediatric Dentistry. We're located at 13610 West Maple, across the street from parcel number 4. Thank you to the District Advisory Board and Metropolitan Area Planning Commission for allowing me to share my thoughts today. I'm speaking with you today because I strongly oppose the CUP amendment to parcel number 4, that vacant lot just west of the Dollar Tree. Back in 2023, when we decided to buy and renovate the old medical office at 135th and Maple into a brand new state-of-the-art pediatric dental facility, we did it for very specific reasons. We chose this spot because Auburn Hills is beautiful, it's clean, it's family-oriented, and it's rapidly growing. Also, it's an area with a gorgeous aesthetic. The white, the clean, everything around the area is very well maintained. So we invested a lot of time and resources into what we thought would be a very productive and gorgeous region. As an owner, we put a few $1 million into the building. We also put $100,000 into the landscaping, of all which we wanted to carry forth the aesthetic of the area. The other thing that we did too is we had to put up a sign. We wanted to put up a digital sign, but we did not fall within the zoning parameters that were set out previously for the pad site. And we had to rezone our property. We had to follow the rules. We had to hire a consultant. We then had to rezone. It took about 6 to 9 months to get that process going. And then we were able to place a sign. And we really liked that new digital sign, but we followed the rules to do it because we value the CUP rules that will maintain that rigid aesthetic and carry it forward for the future. That's exactly why I don't want to see the city lower the standard by allowing unscreened trash, exposed outdoor storage, or open semi-truck loading areas on the parcel. On paper, this might look like a small tweak, but again, we put a lot of money into our building and we'll probably continue investing more. And we don't do that because we want to see other buildings skirting this and not putting the same amount of time or effort, cleanliness, or aesthetic into their buildings too. So please, we respectfully ask that you deny the CUP amendment and keep the current rules in place for parcel number 4 and any other individuals who wish to purchase parcels or land in the area too. Thank you so much for your time and your service.
Commissioner Johnson.
Question for staff. Basically, back in the day, we seen a lot of this with people not coming here. I thought we established they had to be here if they wanted to speak. Is this setting an example that's going to change what we've already approved?
No, sir, but if you do want to, if you do not want to allow video to be submitted, we can talk with legal about having a change to do that. We currently, as part of our notifications process, include the video as an option. So going forward, if you would like to not have that option, we can certainly remove that. But I would want to consult with legal first, just to make sure we'd be in compliance.
Just looks like it's what we voted on and now we're letting it happen.
Oh, well, sir, when there was that vote, it was about allowing remote participation. So, but yes, you're right. I mean, very similar. It's on that spectrum of not being in person. Yep.
I just don't know if it opens up a can of worms, so everybody, okay, I can do it now because they did on this case.
Is this the last video?
My understanding is there are 3 videos.
Okay, let's go ahead and hear this one so that we can.
026-00006. And my name is Justin Trimmel, and I'm from Trimmel Anderson White Orthodontics. Our primary office is located at 2143 North Collective Lane, and that's in Wichita. I want to thank the District Advisory Board and the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission for letting me share my thoughts via video today, since I couldn't be there in person. We are currently building our new orthodontics office right next door, directly north of Parcel 4. I'm speaking to you today because I strongly oppose the CUP amendment. We are making a major investment in this neighborhood, and frankly, we shouldn't have to look across the street for our new building, and see the unsecured trash, open loading areas, or exposed outdoor storage. We're playing by the rules on our own property, and I am simply asking you to require the same for our neighbors. To me, it comes down to basic fairness. If it isn't right that a property owner can ignore the rules, then come in later asking for a pass to remove them. If this amendment is approved, it lowers the standard for the entire area. It sends the exact wrong message. Follow the rules if you like it, but just for an exception later if you don't. We just ask for an exception later if you don't. That isn't the kind of community we're trying to build here. It's incredibly unfair to the people and businesses who are investing in this location and taking the time to do things the right way. I respectfully ask you to deny the CUP amendment and keep the current projections in place for parcel 4. Thank you for your time.
Okay, is there anyone else who wants to speak on this that's here? If not, we will bring it back for the agent for rebuttal. And you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Kim Edgington, PSC Consulting, for the record. We would just like to point out that some of the opposition themselves has availed themselves of the opportunity to adjust the CUP and is currently not in conformance with more than one provision of the CUP. So enforcement of the CUP should be uniform. And if altered in any way, there's a clearly prescribed process, which is what we are going through today. We did a significant notification area, sent out hundreds of notices for this particular case, and that is so. We feel that is true. Developers should be held accountable and should be required to meet the provisions of the CUP. However, there are clearly prescribed processes in place, and that has been done before by some of the other members of the CUP, and that is why we are here today. We did not ignore any submitted violations. We were going through the process of requesting adjustments, and that led us to where we are today. There is no hardship to be proven in this case. That consideration does not apply here. This is not a variance case. This is a CUP amendment case, so has a different set of criteria for review. And based on the language that we have submitted, this applicant recommended language, all of the legal enforceable provisions of the CUP will remain in effect, such as the 50-foot separation, the requirement for a masonry screening wall. We are simply requesting that those red line screening walls be waived for this particular piece of property and would not affect any other development on the property. I would be glad to stand for any questions that you may have.
Was there any additional questions for the agent? Seeing none, thank you. We will bring this back to the commission. Commissioner Mader?
I've heard several references to DAB. Has DAB heard this? I'm not finding anything in my report.
Yes, it was heard this past Monday, and the reason it's not in your report is it was not heard at the time the report was finished.
What was their action?
Apologize. They recommended denial with a 5-2 vote.
Any additional comments? If not, we do have a motion for denial, staff recommendation, but if there's an alternative motion, now's the time to do it. Commissioner Johnson?
Well, to start with, basically, the fence that you're talking about is not going to cover up much of the truck, which I don't understand. And the wall that's going to keep them from getting to their dumpsters is not going to work. Eventually, there'll be a masonry wall along the back of the residence. There presently is a wood wall there now. I don't see the need for any of the screening.
Commissioner Duell?
So if we comply with staff's recommendation to deny, then the applicant is still in violation, correct?
That is correct.
Just for clarification again, why did staff require a masonry wall rather than something else to screen this with?
J.R. Cox, Metropolitan Planning, because that's what the CUP requires based on the building that's built. It's rather unique. We see it sometimes, not all the time, but it's be compliant.
But the majority of the building's stucco. It's not masonry.
So for ages upon ages, I'm sure Commissioner Williams Bay remembers, stucco is considered masonry.
Well, it's not, but that's a different story.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner McKay?
According to, looking at that picture, the driveway was put so that both the lot that's not built on and the lot we're talking about share a driveway, correct?
That's correct.
So how is it going to hurt the houses on the west when they got to come in? The building will shield all that off from those houses on the west. Because they got to use that, they'll have to use that driveway.
Any additional comments?
Well, I want to know, was Commissioner Johnson's, was that a motion?
I can make it a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, just for clarification, what exactly is the motion that you're making?
I'm gonna recommend not putting any wall protection in there whatsoever, because it don't work with the dumpster, and the wall don't cover that much of a semi.
And is that your second? Yes. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the applicant's recommendation that eliminates the screening requirements on partial 1 and 4. I think I said that right. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Aye. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 2. Yeah. 8, 2, okay.
8-2.
Also, I do have a comment. I know staff said that doesn't have anything to do with it, but looking at the CUP and all the chat and everything else that we had about how important it was to abide by the CUP, it's clearly that the property to the east has not done that, and that's supposed to be a cross-lot agreement right there. If it's based on a complaint that would trigger that, I would like to have the appropriate staff look into that, and make sure that that is abide by what the CPA states.
J.R. Cox, Metropolitan Plan. Oh, sorry, Commissioner Johnson.
I just wanted to add, that's the other reason I didn't like hearing the owner on screen. We didn't have an opportunity to ask him that question. It's kind of like he stayed hidden, and everybody else has to expose themselves here.
So J.R. Cox, Metropolitan Planning. I will accept that from the applicant as a complaint. I will probably contact or have staff contact the applicant to verify they're wishing to make a complaint. We'll look into that. I do not know that, I heard 2 different complaints alleged. I do not know that both of those would actually be violations of the CUP at this point. They might not be. Won't know that until we investigate.
Well, that's why I asked earlier from staff how big the area was on the CIP, and if they had to agree by all the terms, and that clearly is a cross-lot agreement right there. You're supposed to have the sidewalk. It's clearly not there, and I think I'd like to say I looked into.
Again, the CUP may or may not have actual requirements in it for that. The sidewalk particularly, that's a public sidewalk on a arterial thoroughfare, which is installed by the public. But we will look into it. Occasionally, CUPs have really unique language.
Okay. Yeah, Commissioner Williams-Bay?
Is that sidewalk public or private?
The sidewalk that would be along Maple would be a public sidewalk. A sidewalk going out to join that sidewalk, whether there's one there or not, would be private pedestrian connection.
Yeah, but wasn't that part of the CUP?
Again,
Was that?
I do not know.
Okay, can you check?
That's
can
what,
you check on
that's
that, please?
what we're gonna do.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next agenda items is 4.13, the DER 2024-00010. Justin.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Planning Commission. Justin Constantino with the Planning Department, here to talk about event centers in the county.
Justin, I'm sorry, real quick.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Austin has returned and Commissioner McKay has left. Sorry.
No sweat. Next slide, please. So this item looks familiar to all of you or some of you. It's because the MAPC heard this item back in January of 2026, so earlier this year, and it was approved. It is coming back because we did make a tweak to the language in the Unified Zoning Code, and then staff also made a recommendation to split this item into two separate DER cases or two separate overall cases. So initially, it was recommended for approval to changes to the Unified Zoning Code and the Comprehensive Plan. We have split this into two separate agenda items, and the first one I will address is the Unified Zoning Code right now. So next slide, please. So the recommended action this afternoon is from the MAPC Advanced Plans Committee. They recommended to approve the proposed amendments to the Unified Zoning Code regarding changes to the event centers in the county land use, and recommend adoption by the City Council and Board of County Commissioners. Next slide, please. During my presentation, I'll do a brief reminder on the process, talk about the background, talk about what language is in front of you this afternoon, and those proposed changes. So next slide, please. A little bit about the process. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned before, this group has heard this particular item. We did make some changes. The Advanced Plans Committee did hear it late last year. And then any recommendation today will go to the Board of County Commissioners and Wichita City Council for final approval. So you'll be making your recommendation this afternoon. Next slide, please. A little bit of background on event centers specifically. Next slide. So event centers in the county, we did make changes to the Unified Zoning Code back in 2016. More than 20 acres were allowed by right, and properties less than 20 acres required a conditional use for event centers in the county. Since those changes have been made, there were multiple complaints regarding event centers in the county, specifically noise, trash, traffic, and dust. And the Board of County Commissioners brought this item up back in October of 2023 to discuss, and they initiated this item in late 2023 and requested that staff look into this. Next slide, please. We did look into this. There was further discussion in September of 2024 and several meetings throughout 2024 into 2025. The Advanced Plans Committee heard this item several times, and there was a lot of discussions about ways to remedy some of these items. Next slide, please. The BOCC heard it again in late 2025. This was an opportunity at a staff meeting for feedback and opportunity. And then we had additional feedback from the BOCC in November of 2025. Next slide, please. Some of that feedback included draft regulations that we presented to them, and the Board of County Commissioners focused on noise enforcement and setbacks. They had a general preference to not measure, limit, or enforce noise as part of these draft regulations. There was an interest in using setbacks from residential dwellings to mitigate noise. There was some discussion about doubling those setbacks and an emphasis on making sure not to over-regulate event centers in the county. Next slide, please. In January 2026, we had that MAPC meeting where it was recommended for approval. We did have commissioner briefings, whether we had commissioner briefings prior to discussing this item at the Board of County Commissioners level, and during those briefings, there was some discussion about what was considered the event center activity area, and it was requested that staff add language to the Unified Zoning Code clarifying that parking would be set back 200 feet from the property line. Next slide, please. The event centers in the county definition, event centers are premises that are frequently rented out for public or private activities, not repeated on a weekly basis, and not open to the public on a daily basis at times other than when the event is scheduled. Next slide, please. Existing regulations, so this is how it currently stands right now. Event centers in the county are permitted uses in the limited commercial, general commercial, limited industrial, and general industrial zoning districts. They are currently permitted in the rural residential zoning district if the property is greater than or equal to 20 acres and is in compliance with the applicable conditions listed in the code. If the property in the RR, rural residential zoning district, is less than 20 acres, a conditional use is required. Next slide, please. Existing regulations, we do have parking and lighting regulations, including the requirement that parking be on site, ADA compliance with hard surface roads, and lighting be downcast shield with a height limitation on that. Next slide, please. Setbacks currently 100 feet from the property line, and noise currently no limitations. That's our existing zoning code regulations. Next slide, please. Here is the section that it is currently listed in. You could see event centers in the county listed there are permitted by right on sites of 20 acres or greater. Next slide, please. Other communities, next slide, please. We did do research back in July of 2024 to look at other communities in the region regarding what they were doing, what their unified zoning code looked like regarding event centers. Next slide. What we found was that 60% of the counties that we looked into had no regulations in place, while at the time, 20% did have regulations in place, and another 20% were exploring those regulations actively at that time. Next slide, please. We did do some research regarding best practices from reputable organizations, including the the American Planning Association. There was a great document that we included that had a lot of the same concerns that were brought up by the Board of County Commissioners regarding traffic, noise, lights, and late hours. Next slide, please. Now into the recommended changes. Next slide, please. Again, we are making changes specifically to the Unified Zoning Code on this specific agenda item. The next item I will address the comprehensive plan, but for now, these are to the Unified Zoning Code only. Next slide. We can go to the next slide, please. Those recommended changes are in your meeting packet. The process would be a conditional use for rural residential, and then by right, event centers would be allowed by right in the LC, GC, LI, and GI zoning districts. Next slide, please. Screening shall generally not required unless determined by the MAPC or the governing body, and that reflects the information that we received from the Board of County Commissioners regarding utilizing setbacks as a way to mitigate noise and sound. Site plan required for by right and conditional use. Next slide, please. Hours of operation, event centers in the county would be able to operate from 9 o'clock a.m. to 12 o'clock a.m. daily, and then there are no regulations regarding noise amplification. Next slide, please. Maximum number of guests is at 299. That was removed, so that's not currently in the code. Next slide, please. And then minimum property size, the owner must have a minimum of 20 acres of contiguous property. And I want to note that that's not necessarily all on one parcel. Next slide, please. Setbacks, 200 feet distance to the property line and 600 feet distance to any existing residential unit. That language highlighted at the bottom there in yellow is the line that we added as part of this, that no parking shall be located within 200 feet of the property line. So that's the one language change that we're bringing you forward today. That's the big difference between now and January. Next slide, please. Here is kind of a good summary of everything that's in the recommended changes to the code in front of you. Everything I just went through, minimum lot area, 20 acres, hours of operation, screening, site plan, but a good visual for the changes that are being recommended. Next slide, please. Here is the an existing example of what is currently allowed in the Unified Zoning Code. This is a 20-acre property. You can see the 100-foot setback surrounding that property. Next slide, please. And this is what is proposed. You can see the 200-foot setback on all sides of this 20-acre property, and then you could see that circle with the 600 feet. That would be an example if there was a property located on the west-hand side, on the west side of this subject property. So that's 600-foot distance. Next slide, please. Again, the recommended action today is for from the Advanced Plans Committee to approve the proposed amendments to the Unified Zoning Code, and then recommend adoption by both the City Council and the Board of County Commissioners. That concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions.
Any questions for staff? Seeing none, is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak? Seeing none, we'll bring it back for the commission. Again, the recommendation is that we adopt the proposed amendments to the Unified Zoning Code. I recommend adoption by the City Council and the Board of County Commissioners. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Time out.
Do we have a motion and a second?
Yeah, I just made that motion. Oh, I'm sorry. Was there a second? I did all, didn't I? Was there, yes.
Very efficient.
It was just a delayed second, so. So we do have a motion and a second. All opposed, same sign. Motion passed 9-0. And I also do want to show that Bill Johnson has left the room. Next agenda item is 4.14, the DER 2026-0003. Justin?
Still on the topic of event centers in the county, this time for the comprehensive plan. Next slide, please. And we can go to the next slide, I believe. Thank you. The MAPC Advanced Plans Committee recommended that the MAPC approve the proposed amendments to the comprehensive plan regarding changes to the event centers in the county land use and recommend adoption by the City Council and Board of County Commissioners. Next slide, please. Quickly, I promise this presentation will be a little bit shorter than the last one. I'll go through the process, background, proposed changes. Next slide. A little bit about the process regarding the comprehensive plan. Next slide, please. Again, you know where we're at, you know what you're doing today. We're making a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners on the Wichita City Council. Next slide, please. A little bit of background. Next slide. I won't go over it again. This is changes to the Unified Zoning Code, or excuse me, the comprehensive plan regarding event centers in the county due to multiple complaints that had arisen back in 2023. Next slide, please. This is the background and history. Next slide, please. A little bit more background and history. Again, this language was formulated based on feedback by the Board of County Commissioners. Next slide, please. And again, you all heard this back in January and recommended it for approval. This is the language that was added into the Unified Zoning Code. Next slide, please. Recommended changes. And this time it is to the comprehensive plan. Next slide, please. And this is the big change. So this is in your packet. This is the language that we are adding to the locational guidelines within the comprehensive plan. That language states that rural event centers for public or private activities are discouraged near residential subdivisions and or sensitive land uses and should have restrictions that mitigate nuisance or hazard impacts on surrounding properties, i.e. noise, light, dust, parking, trash, and debris. Next slide, please. The recommended action is that from the Advanced Plans Committee to approve the proposed amendments to the comprehensive plan and recommend adoption by both the City Council and the Board of County Commissioners. And then, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I will note that the MAPC resolution regarding this in your agenda packet that is attached lists Chairman Fry on the signature line. Staff does intend to make that change and add your name to it. So we will make that change and make sure you receive it. And then I will note too, and I'll defer to legal staff on this one regarding voting requirements.
Chairman Justin Wagner, County Councilor on this item, under KSA 12-747, it specifically says in that statute that you have to have a majority of the Planning Commission commissioners, plural, like the whole 14-member body, so you would need 8 members in order to recommend approval on a comprehensive plan amendment. So that's a unique quirk under state law. Just wanted to bring it up.
We have 9, correct? Thank you, Counselor. Any questions for staff? You are done with your presentation?
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this? Seeing none, again, the recommendations is to adopt the proposed amendments to the comprehensive plan and recommend adoption by the city council and the board of county commissioners. Is there a motion for approval? Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passed 9-0. The last item on our agenda, other matters, has to do with a special meeting of the data centers, and I'm going to turn this over to Director Waddell.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, with your authority and your approval, we're looking to schedule a special advanced plans meeting for the discussion of data centers, and we'll see if there's any other topics, but at this point, we think we know the main topic will be data centers for April 16th at 1 p.m. And then the following week, an advanced plans committee special meeting on April 23rd at 9 a.m. And again, for both of those, we expect that the main agenda item will be to discuss data centers.
Okay, and please send out the proper notifications to the members of the advanced plans, including the alternates, if you would, please.
Yes, sir, will do.
Okay, if there's nothing else, thank you, everybody. It's been a long meeting. And again, Commissioner Austin, welcome aboard. We are adjourned.
Hey, Bob.
Recording stop.